What's going on, guys? It's your boy here, RazorSharpPicks, coming at you live for another night of horse racing. It's Tuesday, December 8th, 2020, and huge shout out to everyone in the chat already. Shout out to Pub Sports Radio for hosting, and of course, shout out to the huge guest we're going to have on, Nick Hines, aka the Sarge. He will be on here around 8:30. He's going to break down the Mountaineer races with us, and we are going to ask him a bunch of questions and hopefully win some money. And that guy wouldn't be here without this guest of mine. So let's bring him right on, Mr. Tom. And Tom, how you doing, Tom?
I am doing okay. Happy Tuesday, everybody. We've got Mountaineer and Sarge. I don't know if a lot of you guys are following him. He is the most positive person on Twitter, and I'll let Razor talk a little. Give him his fabulous introduction. But he's a hell of a TVG host amongst other things. But yeah, really excited to talk to him and get the ball rolling on Mountaineer. I said maybe some Dover picks, so he was asking about the tracks. So you never know with Sarge. We'll see what happens.
That's awesome, man. I can't wait to hear what he's got for us, how he breaks down the races, and then of course ask some great questions for him as well. Let's bring on our next guest, Mr. Dennis Trusty. How you doing, Dennis?
Hey everyone, how are y'all?
Mr.
Good,
Dennis.
man. How you been doing in the horses past couple days?
Turfway has been nice.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So that's an indication. Been doing well.
Awesome. Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Let's bring on our next guest. He's the hitman.
The hitman.
Ed. What's going on, Ed? How you doing tonight?
Okay, how's everyone?
Good. Hopefully
Good.
win some money, learn some good information as well.
Right.
And shout out to everyone in the chat already. Make sure you guys slam that like button, press that share button as well. Let everyone know that we're going to be breaking down Mountaineer tonight and also have the Sarge on here. I'm sure a bunch of your followers as well would like to learn from him, just hear what he's got to say. So shout out to everyone in the chat. Mystery's in the chat. Kevin, Fat Wally's in the chat. Kevin, Gas Station Sushi's in the chat.
Bruce.
Shout out to Gas. K Dean's in the chat. Michael Pasanova, Pazanza is in the house. Michael Pazanza is in the house. Golf Today, as always. Gavin Henry's in the house. Steve R's in the house. Bruce T's here. Appreciate you guys stopping in. Let's get right to it and win some money. First race we have is Mountaineer Race 3. Ed, you got any hits for this one?
I have 213. 213 race.
Yeah, 2's a big favorite. The 1 is a bomb, and so is the 3. Tom, what were you looking at for this one?
I like the 2, but I also like the 5. Sealed with a kiss at 7-1, and I kind of like that 3 as well. So I am on 2, 5, 3.
2, 5, 3. Yeah, Dennis, what about you? What do you got for this one?
I took it back to here. I went with hold on, I'm seeing for my pixel and place a little. Let me see here. All right. 3. All right, is active 3, 5, 6 with 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6.
Yeah, I was looking at the 6 as well.
I'm trying to beat the favorite.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that 3, 5, 6 a lot. Also, everyone in the chat as well, if you got any plays, Mountaineer Race 3, post them up in the chat. And let's win the money. Shout out to Pub Sports Radio, as always, for hosting tonight's show. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday at 7:30 and Thursday at 7. We have a bunch more races going on Thursday, so make sure you guys join us Thursday
Yep.
as well.
Yeah, that 6 is a pretty good horse. I could put him on, put her into my try. Won the last time just a couple weeks ago, or I guess about a month ago now at Mountaineer, November 10th. It's 6 furlongs. This race is 6 furlongs. Seems to like the distance. Hey, Mikey, I'm doing okay, man. Everybody, hey, our guy Mikey P had his first huge day. I think that was on Friday. So good work by Mike. I think he came just a couple bucks shy of under a comma for his winning. So good job, Mike. Thanks for sharing that with me, buddy.
It's awesome.
Looks like Gas likes the 1 and 5.
Yeah, I'm going to bet the 1-3-5, not the 5 has some good odds on it.
Yeah, I like the 5. I'm showing the 5 as the best pace horse in the race. And also pretty good at this distance of 6 furlongs.
Yeah, he's raced 22 times and it's been in the money 11 of them.
Not too shabby.
Yeah.
No.
My only fear with trying to beat this heavy favorite in the morning line, as when I was looking at these races, was there wasn't a ton of speed in this race.
No.
So even though I don't like this horse as much on finishing results, the pace, the speed figures, and how the trip should go, the two will be really tough here, but not impossible, I didn't think. You know.
I mean, 7's kind of scares me. The 7's pretty good at this distance as well.
I was just going to say, does anybody like that 7?
7 has been in the 6 furlongs, dirt 8 times, have been in the money 5 of them. 2 first, 1 second, 2 thirds.
Yeah, I'm showing he's got good early pace, but nothing on the late pace.
Yeah. And the only thing I really did not like about the 7, and this is the only thing that got me off that horse, was the trainer is 29 and old this meet at Mountaineer.
Oh, yeah.
If it wasn't for that, this horse looks pretty good for the odds that or she is.
And I guess they just claimed her. They just claimed her too, back in October.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's what it's. I'm looking at, but yeah, you're right, Mike. Gavin. The two is tough, but let's see if we can beat him, or beat her, I should say. Put my picks up.
All right, so we still got about 5 minutes. Yeah, 7 opened up at 12. Now it's down to 5.
Oh, who's your cousin, Gavin? The jockey? Huh. All right. Well, we got the word out there. I'm hoping we get some new faces in when Sarge gets in.
Yeah, definitely. If everyone could press that like button right on YouTube and also press that share button. Share it with all your followers real quick. I'll even do it now. And let's get a bunch of people in here so we can all learn some good information.
Yeah. Sarge was a trainer back before he was a TVG host. So kind of cool, and he was out there at the West Coast track. So kind of interesting look at some of the behind the scenes stuff.
All right, so we got about 3 minutes till Mountaineer race 3. Smooth Ed is going 135. Fat Wally's going $5 exacta box. I'm sorry, $5 exacta 5 over the 721. $2 try box 1257. And he's going 10 on the 5 to win.
How about your pack, man? They're so good that they knocked Carson Wentz out of the starting lineup.
Yeah, I'm sorry to all the Eagles fans. Made you bench your starting quarterback. They might be happy about it though.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. If I was Carson Wentz, I wouldn't have to face the Saints next week, so I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah, I'm hoping the Eagles win that game, some way, somehow.
Just for purely a Packers fan, being
We're
seeding.
We're 1 game behind them because we beat them already. So if we have the same record, we win the tiebreaker.
Now they're still allowing fans up there at Lambeau, right?
Mark's in the house. Yeah.
That's cool.
MR's going 50-cent try, 2 and the 5 on top of the 2 through 6 or the 6 over the 3, 5, 6, 7. All right, so it looks like we got about 1 minute left. The 2 is the favorite at 6-5. Then you have the 6 horse at 5-2. The 1's getting a pretty penny on it, 30 to 1.
Yeah, I'm hoping that horse can run a second for my exacta.
Yeah, I think Ed had that too, right, Ed?
What was that again, Tom? I wasn't paying
That
attention.
one. That's
Yeah.
fine. Nobody pays attention when I talk anyway. Ed. That's fine.
No, I was yeah. No, I had that one too. I got about 7 hits on him.
You sound like my wife when I'm talking. What'd you say? I wasn't paying any attention to.
Gas is on the 1 too.
Golf today's in the house, and maybe you'll be doing some harness.
Yeah.
Did you take a look at that thing from Gabe, Dennis? For Pompano?
Yeah. I posted my stuff with using what he sent
Nice.
everybody
Okay.
out. Yep. He was good. One shot. Hit us 7-1 shot in the first race, so that was a good way to start the night.
Yep. Yeah, he's good. He's really good.
Yeah, he's the best harness handicapper race caller I think out there.
Golf
Or at
Mike
least
125. Mike's in the house. What's going on, Mike?
Oh, cool. Yeah, I just saw that, Dennis. Yeah, Gavin's cousin won on a bomber today at Parks. Nice work, Gavin. Fat Wally, what's going on, man? How are your Cowboys making out, Wally? That game start yet?
Yeah, no, they play tonight.
You never know anymore with these times on the weird days.
Yeah.
Some games start at 4:30. Some games start at 7. Some games start at 9. The hell?
All right, they're loading up at Mountaineer. Thought they were, but then something happened.
Yeah, they're starting to back out a few horses here, or at least a horse.
I don't know what the hell. You never know with Mountaineer.
See, they backed the 6 away.
That 7 horse took a lot of late money.
Yep. Once again, it was the Razor.
Spencer's in the
Yeah.
house. What's going on, Spencer?
Heck, even the 1 horse went from 30-1 down to 25-1, so that's a drop for where the horse was.
Alex is in the house. What's going on, Alex?
Yeah, and I think we have Dover tonight too. I think golf. Yeah. Oh yeah. They're only on race 3. You can listen to me botch a couple harness race calls.
Well, you've been harness, and they give you forms too. You have forms to learn or stuff to look at for harness.
Yeah, there are. It's a little bit different than
And then,
PPs and stuff.
Yeah, like for tonight, Ed, that
Yeah.
guy Gabe at Pompano sent out a free program link on Twitter.
okay.
So if you wanted to take a look at some harness racing, that's a good way to learn it, or just by getting them giving out free programs and stuff like that.
Where's it at again, Dennis? I'll write it down.
It's on Twitter. It's Gabe Pruitt, GABE, and then Pruitt, PRE.
You may just. Sorry.
Uh-huh.
I was going to say it might be easier if you send it to him, Dennis.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Type it up in the chat.
All right.
All right, they're back in the gate at Mountaineer race 3.
Finally.
They are still in the gate.
Holy cow.
Thanks,
All
Dennis.
right, they are off.
Thanks, Dennis.
The 1 got off to a
No problem.
bad start, but is still in the middle of the pack. But the 5 got out to the best start. It goes 5, 2, 7, 1, 3, 4. The 5 and the 2 are out front. The 5 is out front by about a horse length. And then you have the 2 on the inside right behind them. That 7's looking strong in 3rd, and that 1 is looking good in 4th as well. But you have the 4 coming on the outside, and the 5 has taken a 2 horse length lead. But the 2 has put a little pep in his step and is moving up now. You still have the 7 in 3rd, and then you have that 6 horse coming fast on the far outside. You have 5, 2, 7, 6. As they come around the final turn, the 5 is still out front, sealed with a kiss at 8-1. And then you have the 2 horse in 2nd that's looking around, but the 6 is trying to speed up on the inside, and the 3 as well. Come on, 6, get up.
Come on.
Come on, 6. Come on, 3.
Come on, 3, get up. 5,
5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
We did hit the exact of 5, 6.
Really
All
needed
right.
that 3-horse to get going a little bit sooner.
With that 5 on top. Freaking wired it. Nice. Okay.
I know Gas was on that 5 as well. Yeah, I wish that 3 would have got up. That would have been
Yeah.
8-1. Wow.
Yeah.
No, I had a little win on the 5, but I didn't have the exacta.
MR hit the try. Nice.
Wow. Nice, MR.
Mark hit the 5. Nice.
Cool. What was that 6-1?
Went off at 8-1. $2 exacta paid $68.20. 5 to win paid $19.20. $6.80 to place and $4.20 to show.
Take it. Take it.
All right, so next we have Mountaineer Race 4. Ed, what kind of hits do you got on this one?
Biggest hit is on the 6. I got 6-7. I'm trying to find the third one. 6-7. 6 was my biggest hit.
Yeah,
God,
right now
yeah.
the 7 is showing as a 1 to 5.
Yeah.
Tom, what about you? What were you looking at?
I like the 1-horse. And I liked the 3 before he got scratched. I kind of like the 7, but no price whatsoever. So I'm trying to. I might throw the 5 as well. A little bit of a bomber, 1-5, and I'm trying to figure out what else I want to do with that. Maybe the 2. I'm playing again. I'm trying to play against the 7. I might put the 7 in my trifecta. 1, 5, 2, 7 is what I'm looking at right now.
For me, in this race at Mountaineer, I'm also trying to beat the 7. That's again another tough test, just like the 2. But hey, we did that, didn't we?
Yep, we just did it.
So I'm gonna try to beat him with the second choice on the morning line with 3, and taking 3 with everybody. Never mind. Now I gotta change everything up. Never mind. This is why we do it live, right? Oh boy. Okay.
I like the 6-horse Daisy May.
Yeah.
Daisy's ran 4 times at this distance. I'm sorry, 2 times. 8 furlongs.
See, that's the aggravating thing about Mountaineer. I posted those plays and stuff with 10 minutes to post after looking at all the scratches. And the 3 wasn't scratched 10 minutes before first post. So now I gotta go through this race.
Yeah, the 3 I was hot on as well. They're moving relatively quickly for Mountaineer.
Yeah. Just went from 22 minutes to 15 last year.
You said you like the 6 Razor?
Yeah, I like the 6-horse.
Yeah, he just changed to a pretty good jockey after a couple mounts with not the best one.
Let's bring on our next guest, Mr. Gas Station. What's going on, Gas?
Good evening. Good evening on a Tuesday night. How you guys doing?
I guess.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
It's a slow night, but
Good afternoon.
races, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, did you see what Spencer hit at New Zealand Razor?
At New Zealand,
He put it
I
in.
just
It was
found it here.
yeah.
God damn.
I know. Yeah. Girlfriend's getting some extra presents for Christmas this year.
That new couch you just got paid for.
And then some. That's awesome.
Any bombing.
All right, so we got about 14 minutes till race 4. Gas, did you have anything for this race?
The 4th at Mountaineer. Yeah, that's good, dude. Okay. So the 7s, the 6 and the 7 are pretty short there. I think 7 is better than the 6. But my pick is the 1 and just the 1 actually. The 1 is actually my pick.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, I would go 1-7 more than 1-6. I don't think there's much value right now. I don't know. The odds are going to change a lot, but I didn't like the 6. I thought the 6 was more like a 5-1 or 6-1 shot. I could see the 7 dropping even down, even lower. He's 4-5 right now, so I could see that coming down a little bit. But the 7's going to be. But I think the 1's got a good shot in there.
I think that 1's got a good combo between pace and pretty good speed at a mile.
Yeah. Got the top rated trainer in there. And this track's particularly run by the top trainers. Although he doesn't really have a good figures at all. At least
No.
top trainers in this race are these are all crappy trainers. So
Yeah, the 7 horses ran 4 times at this distance, 8 furlongs on the dirt. He got third 3 of those times.
looks like a boat race to me. I like the boat race. Like I think the horses that winning first turn could actually hang on. I don't see a lot of pace in here.
What's going on, Big Show? What's going
Big
on,
Show.
Bertucci?
Guillermo.
Hey, Guillermo, Fat Wally, Spencer, Horse Honey.
How you doing, Horse Honey? Welcome. Thanks for supporting as always.
Yeah,
Make sure
I think
you
I'm.
all slam that like button down below and subscribe if you aren't subscribed. We are at the 2.8. We're almost at 3K followers.
Wow.
Make sure you guys subscribe and press that like button. And if you could, press the share button. We got 41 people in here. If we all press the share button, bring one friend in here, one follower, we're up to 82 people. So we appreciate the support. And Mr. Nick Hines, a.k.a. the Sarge, will be on here soon. So hang tight and let's win some money at Mountaineer. We got about 11 minutes till race 4. Gas likes the 1. Tom likes the 1. I'm on the 6 horse. Dennis was on the 3 horse who was scratched.
Yeah,
And
I'll give
now
an update on that. I started looking at the 1 horse as well, and I think that's who I'm going with as far as trying to beat the 6 and 7. And even though Razor, I think the horse that between those two, I think you got the one that's the better one. But I don't like the price on either one of those horses, so
And Ed, who were you on for Mountaineer
I
Race?
had the 6 and 7, but they're both chalky. I come off them both. So far, I'm a bet nowhere.
Join the one train.
Hey, if everybody picks it, you got to win.
we either go down together or we win together. Dennis, anything at Pompano?
Oh, yeah. So for race 3, I went with the 5 horse up there, winning place on the 5.
Sugar and Spite. Okay.
Who is? Yeah, it's 7-2. I've hit the first 2 races.
Yeah, man.
So that's it. Well, the last one didn't really pay good, but the first one did. So that's, like I said, at least it's a good start, and at least it's cashing something.
Like Wally always says, and Deacon Mike and Jimmy, a win's a win.
Yeah.
Better than losing. That was nice.
Who are you on besides the one horse?
I have 1, 5, 2, 7. Put the 7 in there to keep me honest.
Razor, do you have anybody in this football game?
No, I didn't have anything in NFL.
I really didn't either. I was gonna take one last look at it here.
Yeah, it's a tough game. The Ravens aren't that good. I've been saying for all year that their quarterback, who's coming back tonight, is overrated.
Hey, Tom. Talking to a guy who's a Louisville fan. Lamar.
Hey, but he's not playing there anymore.
Lamar. Well, yeah, but that's the thing. Being a Louisville native, so many people started being a Baltimore fan when they took him. So, even though I'm still a Saints fan, I think my second team would be the Ravens if I had to pick, but just for that reason.
I think part of it too, and Razor can probably attest to it, is we're right in the middle between Eagles country and Ravens country, and people just blindly are like, "Oh, he's going to the Hall of Fame. He's going to the Hall of Fame." It's like, settle down. He's
For sure.
He's pretty good, but just settle down.
Oh yeah.
Calm down.
Yeah, he's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Aaron Rodgers.
Oh no. For sure, he's not that, but he's
No.
still really good.
I think Mark. I think Dennis said he liked the 7, right, Dennis, for Pompano?
Oh, this race I went with the 5.
Oh, the 5. I'm sorry.
No, you're all right. That was the second race, which the horse won, but it didn't pay a whole lot for the Exacta.
Spencer has some anytime touchdowns. Dalton, Dobbins, Des Bryant, Michael Gallo.
Good old Tuesday night football.
Yeah.
Can't even screw my whole day. I'm like, is it Thursday? Like, what the hell's going on?
I know. I mean, at this rate, the way it's trending, we're gonna have Super Bowl on a Tuesday night.
Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
Super Tuesday.
Yeah.
That would be my luck. Like, Packers make the Super Bowl, but they can't play with Rodgers because he's got COVID.
Oh my God.
Is your daughter playing yet, Gas?
What's that?
Is your daughter playing yet? Did their team start?
No, she's sitting out this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah, I imagine it would be. I don't blame her.
Yeah. It's a total mess.
Big show. All right, 43 people. Jeez.
Tony's in the house. What's going on, Tony?
Where, Dennis? Where is Pompano?
It's somewhere in Florida, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Makes
Let me look
sense.
it up.
I could have easily done that. I thought you might know.
Yeah, it's in Pompano Beach, Florida. Yep.
Makes sense.
TAS is on the 1-2-5-6 try.
Yeah.
The 2's taking a lot of money. He's down to 2-1. Alex Rodriguez is in the house. What's going on, Alex?
Alex, the man.
ESR Survivor Pool champion of the first one. Benjamin Martin's in the house, saying South Florida. It's near Fort Lauder.
Oh, thanks, Ben.
All right, so we still got about 3 minutes until race 4.
And they're dancing. They're in Pompano. Dancing between the palm trees. Uh-oh.
Sounds like vacuum.
Is that your cleaning company, Dennis?
No. I don't have nothing running over here. At least I don't think I do. Yeah, I just muted and it's not me.
Saddles is in the house. What's going on, Saddles?
Yeah, no, Dennis. Saddles. I had to quiet the Finches. I gave them a little bourbon tonight. They're asleep.
Did
Yeah,
anybody watch the MMA show last weekend with Nick? I set an over/under for 3 shoeys, and I think that was done in like the first 10 minutes of the show.
Oh,
We had him doing shoeys. I think it was Monday night.
Last night?
Just on Monday night, he did wait, was it last night? No, Sunday night. Sunday night football. We had him doing 4 right off the gate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Saturday night he hit a bunch, man.
We need to get him to do one on here.
Oh yeah, he's done one on here.
I wasn't here for it, I don't guess, but
I know, if you tip him $20, he does one now. So people were just throwing up money. He was going in.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did it for $17.69. That was his price. He's like, pull that out here, Mr. 1769. Yeah, Nikki Two Tanks.
man.
Wow, that 2 has gone down to 8-5.
What the hell?
7 horse is now at even money, and the 6 horse has gone up to 6-1.
I don't see. Correct me if I'm wrong. I was looking on the Equibase pace figures and also on the Twin Spires pace figures, and it doesn't have the 2 rated high in either one. And I can't imagine betting a short price in this field on a horse that doesn't have speed.
On Brisbane, it has the 2 as a 3rd best late pace.
Yeah, late.
But yeah, nothing.
Yeah, because I got Twin Spires, the pace, I got 7.51, and then the HTR, which uses Equibase, is 167 in their pace numbers.
Huh.
So I don't know. Maybe somebody knows something. I don't. Maybe the two will bust out there, but it doesn't. It doesn't figure that it would or she would.
Keep this one at 7-1. I'll be happy.
All right, they're loading up in the gate now. Mountaineer race 4. All right, they're loading up in the gate. All right, they're off at Mountaineer race 4. Looks inside. The 7's trying to make a move from the outside to the inside, but it looks like he got stopped by the 6 horse. The 1 is out front. 1, 2, 6, 7. And then you have the 4 and the 5 about 4 or 5 horse lengths back. You still have the 1 out front at 8-1. He's out about by 2 horse lengths over the 6, Daisy May. And then you have the favorite at 1-1, Stormin' Rosemary in third. The 1 is still out front by about 2 horse lengths. And then you have 6, 7. And that 2 is starting to make a move on the inside at 9-5. Shaken Splash.
He's
You have 1, 2, 6, 7,
doing?
and then you have the 5 trying to split through the middle. They're pretty bunched up right here, but the 1 is still out front. You have the 1 and then the 3 wide, the 2, the 5, and the 7. Here comes the 5 down the middle of the track.
Come on, 1-5.
Run by at 30-1.
Come on, 1-5.
1 is still fighting out front.
Stay up there, one. Come on.
7-5. The 7 is starting to make a move now. He's going from third to second. They're
Come on,
coming
5.
around the
Unfortunately,
final
beat
turn.
2.
The 1 is
Get up
still
there,
out
5.
front at 8-1.
Who's coming up on the
The
outside?
1 is still out front. The
Come on,
7
Juan,
is trying to make a move
come
on
on,
the
Juan.
outside.
Oh, stay
The
up
7
there.
is-
Come on.
7 is on the outside. And the 7 is going to pass the 1.
Come on, Juan.
The 4 is trying to make a move on the inside for second, and he's going to get there. It's going to be a 7, 4, 1, 2.
Darn it.
Final.
Darn it.
All right, well, it's that time. Let's bring on our special guest of the night. He's a former trainer. He is a bloodstock agent, TVG host, and a representative for My Racehorse. He is as a trainer, his horses were in the winner's circle 181 times, and his horses have made over 5 million in winnings. Nick Hines, the Sarge. Welcome to Pub Sports Radio. How you doing?
Again, I don't think I ever remember a show where they prefaced my training career, but I appreciate that very much. Good day, everybody.
Of course, thank you for joining us. Of course, and big fan of you. Watch a lot and appreciate you for taking your time and joining us. Hopefully, breaking down these Mountaineer races and win some money.
It's a pleasure to be here. I have to tell you, looking at your little backdrop right there, it just makes me thirsty. I'm real thirsty.
Yes, I got a nice little Packers man cave, and I heard are you a Cowboys fan?
Yeah, it's kind of the double whammy, between the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, having family roots there with my father having played there. But, I became a Dallas Cowboy fan on the heels of them getting whooped up by the Steelers in the late 70s when Roger Staubach was quarterback. Little did I know, Tom Landry was a big fan of Danny White, and once he kind of implemented into that 2-quarterback system, Roger Staubach was done with Dallas. So I had to deal with Danny White for the better part of the early 80s, but the rest is history, brother.
Good old number 11.
Yeah, great punter, and he wasn't a bad quarterback. It just they were on the downward trend, and especially after the Niners kind of put the nail in the coffin. That was the beginning of the end, and then, of course, the Redskins took care of the rest. But that's ancient history.
Yes, and of course, if you didn't know, we are on YouTube right now on Pub Sports Radio. I'm not sure if you have the chat up, but you are getting a ton of love. Benjamin's showing some love. Fat Wally, Michael, Spencer, Deacon Mike, and Benjamin is saying "Go Irish."
Yeah, he
We got
knows.
a bunch of fans in the house. So, like I said, I appreciate you for coming on. And,
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm great to see all these windows open here. The man down in the center middle there, Gas Station Sushi, that was one hell of a racehorse you're named after. We won't go to the Urban Dictionary on that one, but
Yeah.
through that, Dennis, we've interacted in Twitterverse. And of course, Tom is one of the true naturals out there, and it's an honor to be here on a Tuesday evening. We got Mountaineer. You guys were dogging it out with an even money favorite, but I hope you made $1 somewhere.
No, a couple of us had that. A couple of us had that one that died at the end, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we did have a couple people in the chat. They did hit the trifecta, so that's going to be a nice little change in their pocket. Next up, we do have Mountaineer Race 5. We have about 15 minutes. So let's get right into it. Well, let's first ask you a couple questions. What's the first thing you kind of look at when you go to break down a race?
For me, maybe being that having been a former trainer and now I'm actually representing Jose Valdivia as a jockey agent in between the flux of sales season, because with the COVID pandemic, I'm likely not going to be out there for the Keeneland January sale, so a lot of it's done digitally. So I'm kind of grounded, right? We're at stay at home here in California, so for the time being, representing Jose Valdivia, we're going to give it a run. He's approaching 2,000 lifetime victories. It's his birthday today, incidentally. Of course, Jose, known for winning the Belmont, in addition to a Breeders' Cup champion rider as well. And, I'm excited. He's motivated. And, so on that note, the first thing I look at in handicapping a race is, the conditions and who is going to fit into those conditions the best. You've got a non-winners of 2 race here. The West Virginia accredited race is not considered that eligibility. So first thing I look for, hey, it's a non-2. I'm trying to find that West Virginia bred that's won multiple races. Unfortunately, there's not one in this race. And that's kind of the first thing I look at. And then obviously I tend to be more of a pace handicapper, in particular at tracks like Mountaineer.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest thing. I always say pace makes the race. So
Pace makes the race. Interesting. Cool. Now, Sarge, does that matter on the distance of the race? If when you look at pace, does it matter shorter or longer?
No, I think it's consistent with both, and in particular, a track like Mountaineer can get a little funky, because of the fact that they get even more so toward the wintertime. They get more rain and, the wet tracks and, a freezing type track scenarios. So it's obvious that when you look at these races, the riders are staying 4 and 5 paths off the rail. So if I can find one, or 2 speed horses that likely can gain some separation and kind of take the heart out of them, especially in a non-2 or a maiden race. I would say consistent wise as far as pace, I'm definitely looking at it the same way, whether it be a sprint or a route race.
And to your point, there's in the the third race, the 5 had the best pace, best late pace, and won the race. We wired it actually.
Yeah, Sealed with a Kiss. Is that the horse that won that race?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's interesting, and that's the other point. We find this so often in handicapping where, and I don't know if it's just common law, but people that when you're looking at a race and price-wise, like in this case, Sealed with a Kiss, who pretty much got eliminated at the start last out, granted was 17-1, but when you reflect on the race where this horse actually routed and showed speed 2 back, I like the fact that it was a second straight sprint back, but it wouldn't have been a horse that I would have had on top. Looking at the thoroughgraph for that particular race, Again, that horse would have had to have stepped up considerably. Wee Money Creek actually laid over on the thoroughgraphs, but I'm not sure where that horse ended up. It was actually a price on the morning line.
Yeah, I think we got him at 8-1.
Okay.
Ed, how about you? What kind of hits you got on this race?
I had the 1 and 7 on this one. Strong on the 1.
Yeah, I'm on the 7 as well. Mr. Sarge, who are you looking at for this race?
All right. So obviously not part of the late pick 4. That'll start race number 6. You know, I think from a numbers perspective, it looks to me like she's a rock star too. You know, based on what I'm seeing as far as value is concerned, currently 9-2. I like that horse on top in this case. You know, looking at Adrian Flores, you know, riding for this particular barn. Interesting to note, this will be the first time they team up. Barn doesn't win much. You know, they're 4%, you know, over the past calendar year, you know, 8 for their last 100. But I like the pace that we shown last out. The first thing that stands out in my mind is, you know, did this horse just move up over a wet track? You know, that was just the 3rd try over a wet track. But I do like the fairly quick turnaround. And while I would like to have seen the same rider that we saw last out with Aurelius Cosme, I'm hoping that Adrian Flores is going to be up to task here. So based on the odds and based on Thorograph, I think 9-2 looks pretty generous to me.
And we do have a question in the chat for you from Saddles and Sulkies. Sarge, do you suggest that handicappers play a smaller percentage of their bankroll when they play cheaper tracks?
Wow, that's a very good question. You know, I think it has more to do with your comfort level in the track you're playing at. You know, I can just tell you, you know, on the QT in reference to certain tracks that I have the most difficulty with, Hawthorne would probably be number 1. Probably just in behind that would likely be Turfway, which generally with the synthetic tracks between Woodbine, Golden Gate, Presque Isle, I would say that I've done pretty well. So I think a lot of it has to do with the luck you had at a particular track and how much do you know the track and the individuals that are involved, whether it be trainers or jockeys. You know, the one thing I hate to see, for example, you get a track like Mountaineer where you have one trainer that wins at, say, 50 to 60%, and I think you all know who that is. He's got a horse in the 6th in Kevin Patterson. The guy's rate is ridiculous. And for me, as a handicapper, it's like, well, that's great because we can create value by trying to beat that guy. But more often than not, if he doesn't win, he's in the equation. So as far as like quote unquote lower tier tracks, you know, I really couldn't say that because, you know, like Golden Gate, for example, isn't classified as one of the higher end tracks. I don't really think it's a lower end track, but I've had so much luck there that I will bet more there. So I think a lot of it just has to do with what you know and who you know.
Yeah. That's an awesome information.
It really is. It really is.
I mean, here's the other thing. This is what I think. I mean, obviously, for example, we've got 6 cats on this line right now. I can assure you that each and every one of us has a strength that if we put that all together at the end of the day, we could probably make a few dollars. You know, it's, you know, I might like Golden Gate. Dennis might like Gulfstream. You know, Smooth Ed, he might like Turfway. So I think you really have to concentrate on specialty tracks as opposed to saying, look at the harness world. You know, Woodbine Mohawk for me is ultra tricky, whereas Meadowlands, you see what they've been paying out over the last couple of weeks.
Wow.
I feel good at Meadowlands, you know?
Yeah.
But that's just what I am. And is it because I've had better luck there? Possibly. But I feel like I know the people, I know the connections better.
Yeah, it's like our one of our guests that's always on here, Guillermo Zertucci. And we call him King of Santa Anita. Whenever it's a Santa Anita track, we go to him and ask him first. So I totally agree.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. I think they're gonna name a race after him out there next year.
Does he live out there or does he live somewhere else?
Go Go ahead.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, Razor. Oh no, I know he's in California somewhere. I forget exactly where.
Yeah, I believe he's out near there.
Surprised we haven't run into one another.
So we do have Mountaineer race 5 in about 8 minutes. Sarge, do you know what you are playing on this race?
Well, I was kind of like fixated on that late pick 4. My concerns with the first leg, you've got the Kevin Patterson trainee, which might just saturate the value clean out of it. And, looking ahead, as far as the size of the fields aren't great.
No.
I did feel that the horse in the nightcap, that Equus Novus for Kevin Joy, Luciano Hernandez, I really like that horse on sheet numbers based on the race condition, non-winners of a race since December 8, 2019. You can see that this horse won November of last year, has only had 3 races since, but that effort at Charlestown was kind of a wake-up call for me, and this will be the second start in this barn. I feel like I'm willing to single that horse. I know that Ed Closton has it in there, at 7-5. So I'm going to go straight up against that one, thinking we're going to get the trip based on the draw. So, maybe I can go ahead and use the Kevin Patterson and be okay in a late pick 4. But for this race, I would say I would concentrate on the exactas. Looking at the other competition here, as I mentioned, I do like She's a Rock Star 2 on top. Unfortunately, the horse that I'd be using underneath would be Special Conquest at 7-2.
Yeah,
so in looking at the pools, I was going to take a look at the probables for the exacta. I think that's probably the best way to go because am I seeing this right? The 1-3 exacta pays $25 for $1.
Yep.
Yeah.
In an 8-horse field, if I'm getting that with a 7-2 over at 7-2, I'm good with that.
Can't complain with that whatsoever.
No.
Gas, what about you? What were you looking at for race 5 Mountaineer?
I like that one also. The one Nick liked, I think, the best. She's a Rock Star. That was my top pick. Then I was going 7 for my second pick and then 4. So 1, 7, 4 here, which isn't – it's not like short prices, but it's kind of all about 7-2 actually right now.
Yeah, I like that 7 as well. And I like the 1 too. Tom, what about you? What were you looking at for this race?
I also like the 1. I had the 3 on top. I have 1, 3, 4. Not a lot of value in this race, but yeah, I really like I like both the 1 and the 3 a lot based on that pace that we always talk about.
And Dennis, what about you? What do you got for this one?
For me in this race, as much as I like speed here at Mountaineer, I think in this race there's too much of it. And so I'm taking the closers here of the 3 and the 4 on top for an exacta with the 1, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 7, and the 8. And I also, since it's Mountaineer, I think shippers are dangerous at this track. And I'm so worried about the 5. But that's just me in this race.
You said the 5? You said you're worried about the 5, Dennis?
Yeah, I'm worried about the 5. Shipping from Indiana Grand, which is tougher competition than here.
A little bit of a drop in class too.
Yep.
I do think it's interesting for those that are playing you're playing horizontally off of this 5th race. This is also the start of the pick 5, and I have not really involved myself too much with the pick 5s. But if you were in race 6, the horse of Juan Pablo Silva, that Ueda's in Charge, based on Thorograph, that horse sets up really nicely in that spot. I think is drawn fairly well. Although when you look at the pace scenario there in the game, looks like could potentially be trying to clear away speed. Although the one Sean Shine, I guess, is a horse coming out of quarter-mile races, likely will show speed. But if you're looking for like kind of a sheet angle and back with the Win Rider, and you're going to try and beat Kevin Patterson, I would definitely use the 3 in race number 6.
Yeah, in race 6, to your point, Sarge, with the 1, the 2, and all those horses, the 3 is really the only logical closer in that race.
Right.
I just don't know if 5 furlongs is long enough to close.
That's a good point. I think that's a very good point. But the 5.5 furlong victory, 3 back, that horse, within a matter of strides, at least got itself up in contention. And that's just, I'm talking sheer numbers. When you look at Thoroughgraph, that horse lays over on Thoroughgraph. That's only, if you're going to beat Kevin Patterson, that's the kind of race that I think you could beat him in.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're looking to make the most of it because of the fact that we're dealing with, we're not dealing with ultra deep fields. That's one thing.
Right.
Having worked TVG, for example, I think it was last weekend we had Turfway. The fields are, deep, contentious, difficult, but if you can somehow get on the right side of things, you're going to get paid in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
One question I have for you, Nick, is just something I was thinking about before coming on today. And for me, this is difficult on here or in social media. If you really don't like a horse, how can you say that in a nice way? As far as, because since it's Mountaineer, like I'll just say, "Oh, I hate that horse." Is it hard for you to sometimes come up with something nice to say?
I think that's life in general, right?
Yeah.
I think just based on how you mentioned social media. I think in so many aspects we kind of get used to attacking each other. Not me in particular, because I don't attack people unless they want to come with the offensive against me. Then I get a little defensive. But no, I think that, and that's a style of handicapping too, right? I know that there have been segments on TVG where, and I can recall Mike Joyce asking Dave Weaver, tell me one good thing about this horse. And I think that if you can somehow do that, in particular with a horse that's a price horse, I think that there's definitely some money to be made. And on the flip side, if you've got a horse that's a bad favorite, for example, in this race, you look at a horse like What a Rocket, who's been bet down from 7-2. And, we talked about, a horse that was 4th last out, improved in a sense. This one held on better, but is What a Rocket the type of horse you would play against at a short price here? And for me, it would be. Does that mean I disdain the horse or hate the horse? No. But I think you, in your own handicapping style, you have to be particular and be willing to throw horses out. But as far as saying it outwardly, saying I hate this horse or I don't like this horse, I guess it all is dependent upon, your speak, right? I'm the incurable optimist, and I'm a positive person, and I give every horse the benefit of the doubt. But as a handicapper, if I do that, I'm going to go broke. So I have to be very careful. But I really like the warm up for the 1 here. She's a rock star too. That 9-2 looks like a nice win place bet for me as well.
Yeah. And thank you for answering that, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you are. I told the guys earlier, those who don't follow you, Sarge, you're the most positive person on Twitter, and it's tough in this day and age to keep that positivity. So you're good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well,
you're really good.
We're all here for a purpose, right? And it's our job to go ahead and execute that purpose.
That's accurate.
Who's calling this race?
You, if you want to.
Oh, no, I'm not calling it.
We don't use names here. We just say the 1.
They are off at Mountaineer race 5. The 1 is out front on the inside as they come around the first turn. And then you have the 6 and the 8. And then the 7 is coming down the middle. He's moved from 4th to 3rd. Yeah, 1, 6, 7, 8. The 7 is moved into 2nd on the middle of the track. The 1 is still out front on the inside, has about 2 horse length lead, but that 7 is coming up fast. What a Rocket at 5-2. The 7 is coming on the inside. Now the 7 is out front. You have the 7 and the 1 out front, and then you have the 2 horse in third. Then you have the 8 and the 6 and the 4. But the 7 is moved to the front, is up by about a horse and a half length lead on the 1. And then you got about 3 horse lengths back. You have the 8 horse. 7,
Wow.
1, 8. Here comes the 8 on the outside, but the 7 is shot away and is up about 8 to 9 horse lengths. The 7 is still out front, but the 8
Here comes
is
that
starting
8.
to make a move now.
3 and the 5 are rolling as
And
well.
here comes the
I
3
think
on
the
the
three
outside.
three's the horse is going to win this race. This horse is home.
The
I
7
bet the
is
3. I'd be
still
feeling
out
good right
front,
now, but I didn't.
Get
bet
up
the
there,
3.
3. Get up there, 3.
Going.
It looks like the 5.
And here comes the 5 late down the middle, Sassy. It's going to be a battle between the 5 and the 3, and the 5 is going to hold on.
Nice.
Nice call, Dennis.
5,
Yeah.
3, 8.
Didn't have it, but I was worried about the horse.
$20
Nice
horse.
call, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, a
Oh,
horse
yeah.
that horse never ran at Mountaineer. You know, that would have been my only concern. But you know, Dennis, you brought up the point. You know, coming in from Indiana Grand, a horse that was 4-1 last out, and actually showed pace. Clearly, the rider on the 7, the Bug Boy there, he got a little overzealous, I think, doing what he just did. It
Yeah.
was not a winning ride. The horse kind of did a similar thing last out, opened up 2 and stopped. So
Yeah. And with that being said as well, going into this race, I thought the race had a lot of pace. And when the 5 did not go out like he did at Indiana, I was kind of wondering what happened with that horse. But it was a smart ride by Yuri Urenga.
yeah, and he's been around for years, that rider. You know, he's consistent. You know, I guess my biggest concern there was, you know, finding that last win. That horse has been like at least 0 for its last 20, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. I'm looking at the PPs now. Yeah, I think you're just about right.
That was a tie. As far as the 1 is concerned, I guess I'll just have to wait for She's a Rock Star 2 to get back onto a wet track. I mean, that's evidently what helped, and off of a maiden $4,000 win. But you know, for me, I've seen so many riders and horses that, you know, they go through a slump, and like a maiden finally breaks its you know, earns its stripes and graduates, they come right back against winners. And that was my angle, because you look at last out efforts for those horses in there, and you couldn't get excited. But Dennis, you didn't bet the 8, or you didn't bet the 5?
No, I didn't bet the 5. I
Wow.
took the 3 and the 4 on top for an exacta, but had the 5 underneath with them. But yeah, yep.
That pick 4 paid well for $1 in excess of 1,600. The exacta for $1 is going to come back 42.30, which for me looks a little short considering the fact that you had a 9-1 winner. But I wouldn't be throwing that money back in the account. I'd be happy I cashed a bet, because my horse did not perform to expectation at all.
Now, Sarge, a quick question. Since you were a former trainer, do you have a favorite owner that you like to work with, or a favorite jockey or horse?
Yeah, you know, there were several owners that were great. In fact, you know, one comes to mind that I had trained for was Paul Gerdner, who actually used to own LeBois Park up in Idaho. Paul's, I think, 88 now. We still own horses together and manage. In fact, we got one in on Friday at Los Alamitos Racecourse in the opener daytime, Trumpum, who I expect to run really well. But Paul was always great. You know, he was a realist when it came to spotting horses, whereas, you know, we'd claim a horse for 20 and I'd want to, you know, jump him a level or 2, or maybe try a Calbred first condition if they were a California bred. So I would have to say Paul, because of the long-standing relationship. There were so many others, though. There was a time, actually, when I trained for Mattress Mac, which was an experience in itself. I learned a lot in that relationship. You know, we had implemented a interval training program and tried you know, different technique as far as training, which, let's call it a learning experience. But Mac was, you know, he was quite an extroverted, wild guy that, you know, we got to know one another. And we had modest success at best, but it was an 8-month run. He was essentially giving me a chance to train and implement a program which didn't quite, I feel, run its course. As you well know, like anything, when you're recruiting players, you have to constantly, you have a team, you have to constantly add players and scout, which I didn't think we did enough of. But as far as horses, for me, probably the most talented horse I had was a horse called Kileric, who passed away a couple of years ago. We reunited. I went out and visited him. I think it's been about 2.5 years. He lived to be 26 maybe. Yeah, learned a lot from him. He was a couple of ticks off the track record multiple times at Hollywood Park. He was an interesting story because as a young horse, we bought him as a 2-year-old for $20,000 at the Barrett's Mona sale out here at Fairplex. And earnings-wise, I don't remember. But the career, I ended up claiming him back later on in his career and ended up retiring him myself. But he was fast. I think he was only 6.5 furlongs. I think he went 1:14 and 4, 1:15 at Hollywood Park in one of the races he ran, and another of which he was 7/8 and 20 and change, if I remember correctly. So,
Wow.
But he had the best personality. He was one of the first diagnosed EPM cases in California, equine protozoal myencephalitis. I'm sure you've heard of EPM, and that in itself was a learning curve. But outside of the fact that he had a bowed tendon, had a splint bone removed, fractured a shoulder, had a tibia, had an EPM, I think you could ascertain that he was the epitome of racehorse.
Wow.
Far and away my favorite horse to work with. As far as talent, he was probably up there as well. He won 10 out of 20 in his career, but he was honest. As far as jockeys, I have always been a Gary Stevens fan. Unfortunately, Gary didn't ride for me as much as I would have liked. We did win races together, but as far as the go-to guy as a trainer, it was most definitely Garrett Gomez. Garrett he would ride the 8-claimer as hard as he would ride the stakes horses, and that's one thing I appreciated about him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good
I
stuff.
like those type of jockeys that ride them hard if they receive for whatever, because those people back there, that's their livelihood and everything. So I love it.
It's like our guy Trevor McCarthy said last month. He does the same thing because the owners the owners will come up to him, thank you so much for finishing third in the stakes race, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna ride it just as hard as if I'm running an even money favorite at Laurel's, if I'm running a stakes race at Aqueduct.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's interesting because you'd say, well, if you're young and vital, you're going to give 100% every time you get out there, which inevitably they should, right? But as these jockeys evolve, like even toward the end, Garrett was riding for Judd Mont and Bobby Frankel, and at the same time, he would ride the nightcap at Hollywood Park on a Friday night on an $8,000 claimer that I had, and if he didn't get along with a particular horse, we agreed, and we went our own separate ways and went on to the next one. But Garrett was an unbelievable finisher, and he was very underrated with a speed horse. But I wish that I would have had an opportunity to ride Gary Stevens more. But Gary, who at the time was actually represented by the same agent represented Garrett out here in Ron Anderson. They got to a point where, they didn't want to ride those claiming types, unless they were road ready, and I kind of felt like I didn't feel as if they deserved that. Like one day I had Lafitte Pinkai on a horse and we got just a downpour at Hollywood, and this horse was in for 10,000, and I wanted Lafitte on the horse. My client especially did. Horse ran horrible. He couldn't pick up his feet in the mud, and he took longer than either horse to gallop back. And I thought the horse got vanned off because I was like, geez, I don't see him galloping back. Lafitte jogged the horse all the way back, like really took his time with him, and I felt horrible. I said, I'm so sorry that I put you in this situation on this horse. And he goes, no. He goes, you know what? I think I learned something. Let me ride this horse back. Well, unfortunately, his agent wouldn't allow him to ride the horse back, and life goes on. But That being said, I always respected Lafitte because, once again, he was a rider that never, he never judged. And he would go out and ride every bit as hard on $8,000 claimer as he would in a graded stake. And I actually had a horse that won at Del Mar, horse, a California bred that we claimed, Eric DeBaum. And that day, I pretty much just told Lafitte, good luck. Horse went 45 and change. This is one of the last conventional dirt before they went to synthetics. And he ran a mile there. I think it was the fastest mile in like 8 years. He won by 15. He earned like a 114 buyer that day, ran a -1 on the Ragazons. So
Wow.
I still don't know what got into that horse that day. But
Wow.
in any event, he never was able to run that race again. He ran the California Cup Classic, I think, at least 3 out of the 4 years or 2 out of the 3 years. But Lafitte was great because you were legging up an icon of sport, and as much as I love Steve Coffin on Affirmed, for me, Lafitte and Affirmed, Laz Barrera, now that was the team.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Wow.
Wow.
It's just amazing the relationships that you establish on the racetrack. That's the hardest part, about the COVID, the pandemic. Not having spectators at the track. I know,
Sure.
Tom, you've tweeted out, some nice posts there from Delaware where there's virtually nobody around.
Right.
At Los Al, for example, we've got the stay-at-home order beginning this week. They're not going to allow owners to go out to the races. So when I was at the track the other day, even then, fans are what makes the sport of horse racing what it is.
Absolutely.
Obviously the horses, but the individuals. But when it comes to the fans and the vitality of it all, just imagine going to a sports book in Vegas where there's nobody there. It's not.
Yeah.
You may as well just stay at home.
Exactly. Yeah, and Delaware did a hell of a job. I think they had 1,000 people was their limit, and they did a great job. They took your temperatures when you went in. I went out there with Razor once because he's a Delaware guy as well. But they did a great job.
Yeah, it was a great time.
It's got to be different for the jockeys. Yeah, got to be different for the jockeys too, because it's like any sporting event. You feed from the cheers, you feed from the excitement, and you can hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
Well, that was the Kentucky Derby, for example, when Authentic, winning the Derby, because that's where I think obviously Razor Sharp, you're out there putting out sports picks and whatnot, but what has it done for the home court advantage? The Cameron crazies are no longer there when you're playing at Duke, or say for example when you're playing at Notre Dame at South Bend. You've got the student section, or they allow X number of fans, but for a road team to come in and win, it's not nearly as difficult. So I find it interesting when you think about when you're betting on these games, how much is taken into consideration that they're home games, but are they really home games?
Yeah, because when you play at Duke, those student section can almost touch the players. They're so close.
Right.
Exactly. And they don't stop jumping up and down throughout the whole game.
Well, now they're playing at an open gym essentially, but I guess the difference is that, in horse racing, minus the spectator, horses they're still having to ship. We just saw that horse come in from Indiana Grand. And when the dentist had pointed out, it's still, in that case, it's a different surface. But, in light of the industry, in the sport, I think we all know as we stare at each other here on the show, we're kind of an endangered species. Whatever species of human being you want to point us out as, we're kind of last of the Mohicans, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a question I have maybe after the next race for you, and I think you and I touched on it on the Clown Show once, but after the pandemic, what the heck do we see all these tracks closing, and it's so sad.
Right.
And I referenced Razor and I went out to Delaware Park. I'm in my mid-40s. I was probably the youngest guy. Well, Razor's younger than me, but we're literally the two youngest guys there. We gotta bring young guys like Dennis Trusty into the mix and in his generation, because the tracks are closing. We're getting older. and nobody else is coming into the track. It's
Right.
a sad state of affairs. I mean, you mentioned Hollywood Park. What I would have loved to have gone there just solely based on the history of it, but just we see so many, and a couple more closing this year. We saw Calder just last week. So it's sad.
Now we do have just a couple minutes. It looks like we have about 6 minutes till the game. Sarge, you were talking about a pick 4. A couple people in the chat are wondering what you're doing with that pick 4.
Well, I was actually just punching it in at tvg.com. I really feel like I'm going to take a stand with the Equus Novus in the finale. In the first leg, I guess I'd be a fool to throw out a Kevin Patterson horse as much as I want to take a stand. So first leg, on Thoroughgraph, Ueda's in Charge lays over, and I'm gonna have to take that to the bank. So I'm gonna go 3-8 in the first leg, and second leg I'm gonna go 4-6-7, and then in the third leg, that to me, I like TB12 as much as I'm not a Tom Brady guy, but I do like the horse. You would think I'd be a Tom Brady guy because he's playing for the Patriots, and I'm a red, white, and blue kind of guy. But no, I think TB12 is definitely the horse to beat in that spot. Not necessarily the horse to bet. As far as pace, I think there's plenty of pace in there. I would go 3, 6, 7, 8. As much as I don't want to use the 8, I'm going to have to. So let's say I go 3, 6, 7, 8. So if I were to play that for 50 cents, let's call these numbers out. 3-8 with the 4-6-7, with the 3-6-7-8 with the 8 on a 50-cent ticket, that's $12. It gives me a little bit of leverage to maybe add Red Alert, leaving that second leg. So if I added Red Alert, went 2, 4, 6, 7, it's going to be a $16 ticket. So 3-8 over the 2, 4, 6, 7. Over the 3, 6, 7, 8, and I'm going to go ahead and single Equus Novus in the nightcap. Mounted Cop, by the way, is 7-5. I think morning line there.
Now, when doing a pick 4, what are your spending limits? What do you try to keep it at so you can gain as much profit as you can?
All right, so if the pick, to me, the pick 4s are way tricky, and like tonight, you had the option of playing the pick 5 at Mountaineer, which I would have gotten bounced unless I trusted in Dennis there. Pardon the pun. But so, like, say for example, this first leg, if I had a horse that, let's just say I didn't feel you could beat an odds-on favorite in the first leg, and again, I'm just throwing this out there, I probably wouldn't invest more than $24 to $30. On a 50-cent pick 4. A lot of that depends on the depth of fields going forward, though. That first leg, we talk about it often, but I would love to see a percentage when you have a horse that's odds on and what that eventual payout is, even if you had an average of, say, 8-1 going forward. So I guess that would be, my approach. Now, if I feel like say, for example, in this case, looking at this race, Ueda's in Charge. We're going to see this horse in the warm-up here shortly. What are we seeing on the board right now? That horse is currently 5-2. I would be willing to spend $36 to $40 on a pick 4. Once again, it comes down to field size because in race 7, you've got 7 horses. Race 8, you've got 8 horses. Race 9, you've got 2 horses that are likely to get pounded. You've got 7 horses in there. So what happens if I use Mounted Cop, which I'm not, who's probably going to go off at 3-5 for Ed Clouston? Let's say that Kevin Patterson wins this race. This pick 4 is going to pay $19 to $30. So I'm always kind of contingent upon first leg, and I think you can beat the favorite here, so I'm willing to spend more.
Good advice.
What about you for race 6? What do you have?
Me or who?
Gas.
I'm on the 3-8 here. I like the 3 on top, though. I think that's a good bet at 5-2.
Gas. What about you? What do you have?
I really like the 6 horse here. Run for Cash. 6 horse there. Run for Cash. Then I had it with the 8 and then the 3.
Like it. What about you, Ed? What were you looking at?
381.
3, 8, and the 1. Tom, what about you?
I have a 387 exacta and a 3876 trifecta.
And Dennis, what about you? What do you got?
This race I took an exacta 128 with 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, trying to beat the 8 horse, and with the 1, I hope that horse learned a little bit about gate management going out of those 2 furlong races, stretching back out to 5 furlongs, and hopefully we can get that price home.
With the 1?
Yeah, because those 2 furlong races, I think they teach a horse how to break a little bit better, and I hope it outbreaks the 2. I think my race with the 1, as far as my price would go, is going to be 1 at the gate.
Yeah, and I like that. I like that angle. I also like it's similar to your horse last race where he was running with, or I guess she was running with higher competition. Nice drop in class today here at Mountaineer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm on the same as Gas. I just went 368 Fox.
You're in the gate.
Exactly in the try.
Off.
Wow.
They are off here at race 6. Looks like the 2 got off to the best start. The 2 is out front, but the 1 has made a move on the inside in the game, and the 7 is trying to make a move on the outside. So you have 3 wide right now. 1, 2, 7. The 2 has moved to the front about by a half length, and then you have the 7, and the 8 has moved from 4th to 3rd. So now you have 2, 7, 8, 1. The 2 is still out front in the game at 7-1, and then you have the 7 white drill in 2nd. But the 8 is making a strong move on the outside. Swiss Sunrise.
Here comes that 3.
Yeah, that 3's starting to make a bold
Out front
move.
now, the 8 has passed everyone.
Get up
and
there,
looks
3.
like the 8 is going to run away. Here comes the 3 on the outside. He's going to make a move for 2nd, and he does. It's going to be an 8-3-7 final.
Mm.
Cash the trifecta.
Well,
Good for you.
Nice job.
Yeah.
Can you, Razor? Can you show Sarge your graphic for when we hit?
Yeah, so I have a hat. It's a Cash It hat.
I love it.
And then I also have a T-shirt that you can find on pubsportsradio.com. Cash It, RazorSharpPicks with Pub Sports Radio.
Well, you know, my son's name is Cash, so I might have to. I'm gonna have to go in there and grab one of those. So do you actually have a Pub Sports store, or is it you have to special order those?
No, so if you just go to pubsportsradio.com, there's a merchandise section. We have a bunch of T-shirts, hats, things like that.
All right, I'll make sure Tom, you give me the discount code on that.
All right, we'll do. No, I don't think I'll be able to afford a shirt. That trifecta is not going to pay that much. But
No. What's interesting is the fact that the 3 got bet down to 7-5, which is ludicrous. Wow. I think Dennis, you brought up the fact that pace-wise, the 3 might be up against it from a distance standpoint, which Kevin Patterson first run. But once again, you've got Kevin Patterson last year. If I remember, didn't he win something like I don't know? It seemed like a gazillion races in a row. This guy,
like 18, 19 in a row, something like that.
Unbelievable,
And you mentioned me there for the pace thing. I appreciate it, but I think I was wrong because the 1 and the 2 died and the 7 died as well. I think it was just a Kevin Patterson thing as far as.
I think you mentioned the fact that horse may run out of ground, which Wes in charge did, but not that it's going to matter. I mean, we went too deep in the pick 4. We had the 2 chalks there, but I was wanting to throw out the Kevin Patterson. But, once again, you're probably a fool to do so. The guy at press time, he's winning at 55%. I mean,
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's certain trainers out there that, like, for example, I remember Broberg at one time at Evangeline was like 50, 60%. And it's just like, the thing of it is those guys, when those barns get hot, they're just so hard to beat. And, if you beat them.
I looked up the formulator,
Mhm.
and I guess this would be, see how far back this is, but let's put this into perspective.
Mhm.
From his last 619 starters, he's had 254 wins, 41% winners. 41%. I mean,
Wow.
the average payoff is 360, so it's evidently one of two things that, and maybe both. A, he's running those horses right down their throat, or B, the gamblers have just caught on and said, hey, and through that time frame, from 619 starters, they've consisted of 119 horses. So, it's the old, if you can't beat them, join them. And that was the only reason. That was the only reason I left that horse on the ticket. So you got 540 on a Kevin Patterson trainee, but trifecta for $1 paid $9. Look, even if you played, you played $1 box, at the end of the day, you're going, why did I do that? But if you keyed one of those horses and bet it multiple times, you made the most of what you had. And sometimes that's what you have to do, so.
Agree. And I know Tom has a question for you, but I'm going to ask you one real quick from the chat. Benjamin Martin wants to know, he tends to get discouraged when he caps for hours and it doesn't turn out as he'd like. Any advice to keep positive?
Well, it's funny because, not that it's funny, but I had this conversation with Jose Contreras. We were working the quarters. I think it was last Friday, if I remember right. And we both got knocked out of the first leg in the pick 4. And I said, you study, right? And he goes, yeah. I said, well, why wouldn't you play a pick 3? And he kind of looked at me cross-eyed, and I said, you got to play this pick 3. The pick 3 for races 2 through 4 for $1 paid $70 on the same numbers that I had on the pick 4. I got knocked out of the first leg, so I played a pick 3. I played it multiple times. You can do the math. My advice to Benjamin is that, if you are playing horizontally and you have kind of a hiccup to begin, you study. So take those numbers and apply them into some sort of a matrix play, whether you're going to play a pick 3, rolling doubles, or maybe a pick 4 starts there, or even vertical play. But, when we talk about wagering responsibly, I grew up in Las Vegas, so you're talking to a guy that was on a blackjack table. I looked older than I was my whole life, but now I look younger than I really am. But so when you're 16 years of age and you're tall and you can sit down at a blackjack table without getting carded, you kind of learn at an early age. I mean, I remember one time I borrowed $50 from the ranch hand, growing up on a ranch in Las Vegas, and I went down to the Gold Coast. I played blackjack. I ran it up to $3,000 in 3 hours, 3,000. I had no idea what to do with that money. I had no idea. The next day, I ended up going back to the casino. My mother didn't know this, God bless her. And my father had passed away back years prior to that. So I go back the next day, and I'll never forget. Not only was I playing blackjack, but I wagered on a baseball game, and Doug Drabeck was pitching for the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Mets. Never forget. And I played. I wagered enough on the baseball game to whereas if I won, whatever I lost on the blackjack table was going to make up the difference. Long story short, I got beat in the bottom of the 9th on a grand slam homer. In the meantime, I lost all the money back on the blackjack table. So I walked out of the casino the following day with zero money, and the $50 that I still owed the ranch hand. So,
who hit the grand slam?
I don't remember, and I don't want to remember. Now, if I won, I would have, but I remember Drabeck started, and I was all in because I love Doug Drabeck. I wasn't even. I love baseball, but I'm not like in love with baseball, right? But we're talking the '80s, man.
Oh yeah. Doug Drabeck's kid kicked around for a couple of years. He was on the Phillies, and then I think the Blue Jays. Yeah, Kyle Drabeck, I think.
Yeah. Why? So the moral of the story is, was I discouraged after that next day? Of course I was. There was one other time I remember Oklahoma State was playing Wyoming. It was a bowl game. And I'm trying to – Barry Sanders played – where did he play at? He played at Oklahoma or Oklahoma State?
State.
Ooh, State.
Okay. So I went in and I made a bet on Wyoming because somebody told me Wyoming couldn't lose. Well, I was like, man, can we beat this guy? I mean, whatever, right? So I go out to my car. I'm like, I got to go back and bet Oklahoma State, right? So I turned to run back in the casino, and I had these shorts on, and the bumper caught my shorts, and it ripped my shorts. I'm like, there's a sign. I'm not changing the bet. Go back and look. This had to have been an 87 or 88. You go back and take a look, and Oklahoma State destroyed Wyoming. I mean, destroyed it. So the stupid things you do. So talking to Benjamin about getting discouraged, look, be careful of the superstition, but whatever you do, don't get down. And if you feel like you're getting down because the gambling's consuming you, like anything else you do, if it's consuming you, take a step back and take a time out, because the one thing about it, it'll be there tomorrow for you to play.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Great words. Yeah.
That's for sure. Sometimes if I'm at a slump, I'll look at a race and not even handicap it, just watch for the fun of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, especially if you're off kilter with a particular track, right? And if things aren't gelling in a given scenario, then you need to stop and kind of re-rack it, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That's the point of that. And I think people press too much when they're down. And, it kind of is likened to when you have, say, for example, you have two teams that are playing one another. You have a team that you think is pretty good, right? But they're in a slump. They've lost like 4 or 5 in a row. You don't bet that team because they're due. It's just like a horse. You don't bet on a horse because you think they're due to win. That's the worst angle as a gambler, as a handicapper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked up that game, by the way. It was 88, the Holiday Bowl. Oklahoma State won 62-14.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, that was brutal. But because I told myself that, I liked Wyoming that game because they were unbeaten at the time. And I had a friend of mine, this is, 1988. And but when I got out, I had an epiphany. I said, man, Barry said they're going to crush Wyoming. And like I said, I made that turn to run back, and my shorts got caught on the bumper. And that was my sign to say, don't change the bet, which I should have. What are you going to do?
we had there's a good question in here by one of our guys, Saddles and Sulkies. This could be a whole separate show, but what's the biggest problem that our sport has, and how could you fix it? How would you fix it?
I think the biggest problem is uniformity. I think because of the fact that you're dealing with the age of free enterprise and essentially the world of corporate minds, that everybody is trying to go after the same dollar, and they're not allowing themselves to try and reinvent a given situation. I personally think that the medication rules across the board has to be equal. I think that as a former trainer, as an owner, racing manager, as a bloodstock agent, as a jockey agent, I think that there's a lot that goes on out there that you get in given situations where jurisdiction-wise, certain people are given more leeway and more leverage because of perhaps maybe who they are. I think again, you think about track ownership, you think about CDI, you think about Stronach. They've all got their own motives and what they're trying to accomplish, but I do feel that a lot of time it's much like if you were to go on a say you're going to go on an excavation to get gold, right? Everybody's going to the same mountain, when I think that there are other places that they can actually adventure and potentially find that opportunity. But I think the one key ingredient that is missing from a lot of what's happening, and you can look at 2020 and pretty much wipe it out because the fan has been excluded from so much. But as I was saying earlier in the show, that it's the fan what really makes the game and the gambler. I don't think the gamblers are catered to as much as they should be, while the owners need to be. I think it has to be at least close to a 60-40, close to a 50-50 shift because, without the driving dollar of the gambler, there is no industry. So I think a lot of it is just trying to reinvent the wheel a little bit, make it more exciting.
I 100% agree with you, Nick. And yet the medications and the rules and the punishment of these trainers and owners have to be uniform in all states. We can't do much about Canada or whatever, but like every state should have a uniformity to it. One rule I'd like to see is they shouldn't allow the horses to breed until their 6 years season, because the fans get attached to these superstars, right? And I think it'd be great for the game to have them race, the 4-year-old season and their 5-year-old season. And I think people get attached to it. I think the common fan, would come out and follow these horses and appreciate that. That's what I think. I think they get enough years to breed anyways, right? I mean, because if they start when their 6-year-old season, it's plenty enough years.
It sounds good, right? But I think that when you kind of like, say, for example, let's talk about Authentic. Here's a horse that had between the month of July, October, outside of Justified, probably one of the most incredible runs that we've seen in the last decade, as far as in a span of X number of months. When you think about the value of what Authentic is worth as an individual, let's say the horse were out there training one day and he had a heart attack, or let's say he's out there training one day and he gets struck by lightning. There was so much value and money that would have been left on the table. In other words, as a racehorse, there's not enough purse money out there to make up for what he would earn as a stallion. Because if you do the math, you sit down and do your calculations, right? He's standing for $75,000 per hit. So let's just say he breeds 160 mares. That's $12 million in the first year.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if he were to win the Saudi Cup, there's probably your $10 million or whatever it would be to the winner. Right. But I think in that regard, there was just too much risk versus the reward. In addition to the fact that you have to insure a horse for so much, and in that regard, it's a different game now than it was back in the in the 70s when you had the Secretariats and the Seattle Slews and the Affirms and the Spectacular Bids and then so on. It's unfortunate that we don't have more geldings that have gone on to become older handicap horses because all they can do is race, right? But
Right.
I think people really need to take into consideration. And while I agree with you that it really is kind of taking the luster off of the game. Yeah, that was a wonderful thing about Zenyatta, John Sheriffs, and the Mosses. I think they understood that and they kept her going. They were fortunate because they could have easily pulled the plug on her after her 4-year-old year. And the fact that they continued on with her, that may have hindered her ability to go out and be a producer. I don't know. But, these are things that are often talked about, but it's hard to put yourself in their shoes.
I understand that part, but I also think that it's more important to grow the game. I think that actually has to be the most important thing, because if you don't have the players, you don't have new fans, there's not going to be any of this breeding, in 20, 30 years. The game will die if you don't generate new fans. And I think you generate new fans by getting attached to some of these great horses that we want to see run, more, instead of having them go off to the breeding shed so early. And I'm not saying they can't go breed, obviously. I'm just saying that let's put that off a year or two. Let's push it out. And if it's equal for everyone, I think it's okay. I don't think there should be exceptions or anything like that. I think it should be the way it is.
See, I understand both sides to it, but there's so much money in breeding that it's kind of hard to pass up.
it's not passing up; it's pushing it back just a year or two.
Well, but still,
And
though,
giving
like
it 1 year.
there's so much that can happen though too, and on the racetrack and even off the racetrack, that can happen. So I can understand both sides. Like for example, too, with Whitmore when he won the Breeders' Cup this year. As a fan, that was just awesome to see. You know,
Oh, yeah.
seeing that horse just year after year until he did it. But you know, and again, he was a gelding though, so
That's why
each one
7
has
now.
its ups and downs.
Well, I mean, the one thing you have to consider is that if you look back through the years, like say, for example, in 1990, the total number of foals in North America was 44,000.
Mm-hmm.
In 2020, it's 20,000.
Mhm.
So you've got a situation here where we have essentially a shrinking supply, right? But you're like, well, the demand isn't what it was back in 30 years ago either. But the reality is that based on numbers and being able to resource and being able to run a business, for example, Wayne Hughes in Spendthrift Farm, I mean, he's obviously he's a sportsman too, because you know, here's a guy that went out and purchased Monomoy Girl who's going to come back for a campaign in 2020, 21, where many would have just said, look, she's done what she's going to do. Why should we race her anymore? So I think that you have to consider the difference of where the game was. Let's say back in 1990, you think about the stallion farms, even for example, looking at it here in California. I mean, we've been on an island out here for several years now, but I think it all has to do with the economy and being able to stimulus as far as breeding, knowing that in order to run a business, you have to do what, say, for example, they did with Authentic, because putting him out there on the racetrack, I don't care how many fans the horse has. You know, he won the Vox Populi Award, which I think is fantastic, but credit to the My Racehorse partners, the 5,300 that are included. Just my opinion, I do think that, yeah, you're right in reference to, hey, we need to have these horses stick around longer. But in that regard, the purses need to be better. There need to be better pursed races out there for these horses to stick around.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I guess what I'm saying is, yeah, you're going to have to kind of give up a little of the short-term, you know, immediate profit you're going to get from the breeding shed, you know, for that year or two. Right. But also, I think it helps more fans get more involved and they get more attached to those horses, those great horses that we all love.
Sure.
You know, and I think that'll help handle. And as long as you got handle, you're always going to have horses, in my opinion. If you got, you know, people like the breed horses, but they just don't like to lose a bunch of money on it. If they can even break even, these owners, for the most part, they're more than happy to buy these horses and breed them.
Right.
And could I touch on something else too with the medication stuff? Being in Kentucky and seeing how the 2-year-old races have, honestly, I think negatively.
We're about to go off, Dennis.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, we'll pick that back up. We are going off at Mountaineer race 7. Nick does have the 2, 4, 6, and 7 in his pick 4. They are off at race 7 here in Mountaineer on a Tuesday night. Thanks for joining us here at Pub Sports Radio. As always, make sure you guys press that like button. And, of course, thank you, Sarge, for joining us. The 1, the 2, and the 3 are 3 wide, race 7. Got the, excuse me, the 2 and the 3 and the 1 are 3 wide out front. And then in 4th place, you have the 6 and the 4 horse. The 3 has moved to the outside and is in first. You got 3, 2, 1, 4, 7, and 6. And then about 4 or 5 horses back, you have the 5 horse. The 3 and the 2 are still out front. You have the 4 horse trying to make a move on the outside. You have the 6 horse trying to make a move on the inside. The 4 is now out front. So you got 4, 2, 6, 7. The 4 is out front, Lightning Flash at 4-1, and then you have the 2 horse Red Alert at 9-2. The 7 horse is starting to make a move on the outside, while the 6 horse is trying to make a move on the inside. They're coming around the final turn. The 4 is still out front. But you have that 7 horse trying to make a move on the outside and the 6 horse trying to make a move on the inside. That 4 is still looking strong, but here comes the 7 late. I don't know if the 7's going to get up,
No.
and it's not. It's going to be a 4-7-1-6 final.
Yeah.
So the Sarge did get another winner.
He's alive.
Yeah, it would have been better if the 7 had won, actually, with that 6-1 morning line, but pickers can't be choosers, you know. It looks like, you know, as far as this race is concerned, it looked like the speed was not going to give in. You know, looking at the previous race, I would have said, you know, maybe the speed would be vulnerable.
Yeah, but that 4 was top speed in that race.
Yeah.
Hey, Sarge, we mentioned a little bit about my racehorse. Most of the guys know I'm a proud owner. I just got part of the Philly package.
Right.
I'm sorry, the Future Star package. I have Authentic, a few other horses. Can you just in a nutshell, just for everybody in chat, they've asked me, could you do a summation of the benefits of my racehorse?
Well, you know, again, I think the main benefit is the fact that there is transparency, you know, and that's the point of the social media world that, you know, I kind of just have to laugh to myself, because the one thing that my racehorse provides is the opportunity for you to learn about owning a racehorse, whether it be from purchasing, the costs that are associated with that, whether it be training, you know, veterinary costs, et cetera. So I think that the real root of it is the fact that it educates you on being a horse owner. The idea with my racehorse is being able to get involved in the experience. And, you know, in light of 2020, I think that my racehorse has done a wonderful job in allowing the horse owner to feel as if they are truly in part of something. And, you know, we always talk about trying to own a franchise. Like, obviously, the Dallas Cowboys are my favorite team. I decided to come on the show with you guys today as opposed to watching this game tonight.
Appreciate it. That.
But, you know, it's the fact that you have the opportunity to be part of a franchise, see what comprises of making that franchise, between the sales process to the training process to even the selling process, because we've had horses that we've had on the docket that we've campaigned, and, you know, Street Band comes to mind, Grade 1 winner, you know, sold for 7 figures at sale. So I think in a nutshell, for that owner that maybe can't afford to, you know, put up thousands of dollars, you have an opportunity to come in at a small fraction of a dollar, learn, and be part of an experience that is like none other. And hopefully, when we get back to semi-normalcy, if you will, you know, these events that we have at the racetracks they're so fulfilling, you know, meeting up with owners and talking, and, you know, even going on a Zoom chat, talking about a race that might be coming up for a particular horse.
It was interesting. I was lucky enough to go to the Haskell this year and got about 2 feet away from Mike Smith and Authentic.
Right.
Everybody at my racehorse did a hell of a job to do that in light of everything else that's going on with the pandemic. But I can't even imagine after this is all said and done, just getting those other experiences.
That's the key. That's the perks of it all. And, you know, when I sat down with Mike Barnes, and I think it's been over 2.5 years ago now, and, you know, we talked about it. You know, Mike was a former, you know, chief over at Casper Mattress, and, you know, always thinking from an innovative standpoint. And I know that he's, you know, in other sports and in games. You know, we talked about boxing at one time. I'm a big boxing fan. You talk about a sport that needs to reinvent itself.
Wow.
Boxing is, I mean, I think far above horse racing as far as that's concerned. I mean, you look at the standard of judging and, you know, how they handle events. I think they do a poor job at it, whereas at least horse racing tries to be innovative. And I think that machine of my racehorse has taken it to a new level. And there'll be others that try and mimic it. But, you know, as far as the natural understanding of what the fan, what the partnership needs, and, you know, the micro share owners, I think that there's a common understanding there. And, you know, I think it's only going to get better from here on out.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I had 4 guys DM me to ask you about that, so I appreciate it.
Right. Good.
Yeah. And my racehorse, it takes, you know, like you said, a franchise, but not only just a franchise. It's y'all own some really top tier horses. It's not
Right.
just like you're
Well, I'm
gonna
getting
own a piece of the Cubs back before they won the World Series. You're actually getting a good horse out of it. So yeah.
Alex has now asked this about 4 times, so I'm going to ask you, Sarge, because this is, I guess, one of your home tracks. Any angles on Santa Anita as far as track biases or things of that nature? Sorry, Alex, I wanted to get to it eventually.
I think that as a general rule, you know, I think Santa Anita tends to play fair. I think what's the difficult part of it is when you're talking about field sizes, because, say, for example, you get a field size of, say, 6, 7 horses. I've kind of felt it difficult to play horses generally from off the pace, whether it be in sprint or route races. The one thing that you will see as the season will progress from the winter, the day after Christmas, which, according to what I understand, they're on course for that. The track will change, you know, and I think that as the meet evolves, you'll see more of a speed-conducive racetrack. Whereas in the beginning, because they haven't raced there since essentially October, you know, the track is a bit more forgiving and, you know, can play toward closers. You know, also keep an eye on the weather. I know we don't get a lot of rain out here, but as you can know, if there's a sprinkle in the sky, they'll probably tighten the track down. And even if they were to harrow it and open it up, you're still going to have a base that's relatively fast. So I think it's more speed conducive. The turf course, you know, they set that chute up now where they can have a turf sprint up to 6.5 furlongs. So I'm going to kind of reserve judgment on those until I see those races. But with the turf course there, I think that I'm still going to stick by the old standard of when the rails are out. I think it generally gravitates towards speed. Whereas when the rails are down, I think that closers have a better chance of getting there. So, you know, early on dirt track, you may want to, you know, open up the playbook a little bit and look for closers as the meet wears on, especially into March and April. It's more of a conducive racetrack.
Cool. And another question I got from one of our guys who gives it to Razor because he's a Bears fan. So
Oh boy.
he's a Packers fan, but I'm going to ask this anyway, Deacon Mike. He asked me to ask you what's your best track to cap? I guess Los Alamitos or best.
I hope it's not Los Alamitos. Put it that way. As crazy as it sounds, as far as making money day to day, you know, I know the track is closed right now, but I'd have to say it's going to go. Probably number 1 is going to be Golden Gate. Golden Gate will be number 1. I think just in behind that would probably be the Fairgrounds. And then just in behind that would likely be, you know, Aqueduct Belmont. You know, when Del Mar's going at it, I would say that I've probably had better luck at Del Mar than I have at Santa Anita. You know, my only issue with Santa Anita is keeping field sizes up because, you know, when the field sizes are down, which I anticipate it's going to be a big season, I know that the backstretch, you know, they're loaded. And I know Robert Falcone Jr. is coming out to train here as well. So I think early on, I think there's a chance to make good money at Santa Anita. But as far as my favorite to track on a consistent basis, it's most definitely Golden Gate because I think it's very underrated. You know, when you talk about field sizes, you might have a field size of 7, but they pay there. And don't underestimate them based on that. And if Los Alamitos at night, I mean, in their defense, you know, we talk about the best bet in racing because they minimize the pick 4s at $1, and they have the traditional pick 6. I think Los Alamitos is very underrated, but I try and also find those tracks that aren't going to kill you on takeouts. And I know Sam Houston's coming back,
Oh, that's
and
right.
that'll be back at the turn of the year. That's a fun betting track, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Sarge, another question. Can you take us through the process of being a bloodstock agent? And what do you look for in a horse for clients?
Well, I've always considered myself, pretty well-rounded. I'm a bit forgiving when it comes to, looking at a horse, because I've had clients that come to me and say, I've got $5,000 to spend versus others that said I've got $250,000 to spend. So, and working as an advisor for my racehorse as well, the one thing I can appreciate is the fact that they do take into consideration. I may see a horse that we can buy for 50 or less that has to be bought. But, I'm a pedigree guy, but I'm more of an individual inspection type person. I look at the physical, how a horse is made. We've been to the weanlings, the yearlings, the 2-year-old training sales. I think when you go to the 2-year-old training sales, you have to find a particular horse, like going to a combine. You need to look for a horse that displays, some high rate ability, a turn of foot, effective, efficient motion. Whereas with a yearling, for me, you're kind of looking for aptitude. You're looking for good balance in a horse, and obviously looking for a horse that's correct. And then you can get onto the pedigree aspect. And then I'm always trying to scout those racehorses. If a horse has made a good sheep move, maybe they raced on the turf for the first time, and you noticed a move, or they made a particular move in a race, you try and scout that way. Like anything else, you're looking for something that might not be like totally on the radar, because I'm always trying to find value. I don't want to go out and pay top dollar for my clients, whether I have the money or not.
Now, where do you find these horses at?
Yeah, who would under the radar sire in California? Like, who would be like some other sire in California, maybe your top 3?
As far as under radar, I'd probably have to say Curling to Mischief. When you take a step back and you look at his pedigree, I'm going to look up his stat here with the first-time starters, but I believe he is at Rancho San Miguel, and I think that it was actually John Feld. His dad Bob Feld's been a bloodstock agent for years. As far as bang for your buck, I mean, he's 26% with first-time starters, and he's out of Leslie's Ladies. So what does that make him? A half the Beholder, and he's got the Into Mischief line there. So I think Curling to Mischief would be that horse. He's 15% overall. He's had 23 runners with 13 winners. If he shows up, he can win with a first-time starter, and I think his horses have proven they can win on different surfaces.
Right. Okay. What do you think about Cyclonic? Are you familiar with that sire, Cyclonic?
Tyconic?
Breaking up.
What? How do you spell it?
Cyclonic, CYEL.
Yeah.
I know Bruce Headley uses a lot of those horses.
You're talking about Cyclotron.
Oh, Cyclotron. Sorry. Yeah. Cyclotron. Sorry.
Yeah, he's useful. I mean, when you look at his stats, he's 10% with first-time starters, but he's been around a while. I mean, he's 20 years old now. So
yeah.
It's just like Idiot Proof. I don't know why they didn't capitalize on Idiot Proof out here in California. He just kind of flew by the wayside. I mean, the obvious is the Smiling Tiger of the World. Clubhouse Ride has had a big run with the second, third crops. But I think as far as underrated value, it's Curling the Mischief. And then as far as across the board, we've seen what Uncle Mo has done as a grandsire between Nyquist, Laban. But there's one Uncle Mo stallion that you guys need to kind of put into your stable watch, and that's Uncle Lino, who was by Uncle Mo, and he was trained by the late Gary Sherlock, who left us in this over the last year. But he's had 14 runners, 6 winners, and first-time starters, he wins at 14%, 36% with second-time starters. He's an interesting sire. So you see an Uncle Lino, Lino out there.
Lino. Okay.
Yeah, Uncle Lino. Take a look at it.
Good to know. We'll tell one of our guys is Mr. Pedigree. He couldn't make it tonight. Kevin loves his pedigree, so we'll mention that to him.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, Gas's family has a couple of horses that run.
Oh, you own horses, Gas?
My brother is a managing partner, so our main horse that we have, well, I mean, I wouldn't say main horse, but the horse that's won the most lately is Greg Dar, won at Del Mar with
money that day. Phil D'Amato.
Yeah, D'Amato, yeah, Phil.
And that horse was a steal that day.
Yeah.
All right, so we got about 4 minutes until Mountaineer race 8. The Sarge does have his pick 4 rolling still. He has the 3, the 6, the 7, and the 8. Gas, who were you looking at? I saw you post up a double, didn't you?
Yeah, I posted up a double. I took 5, 7 in the 8th race, and I took the 2 and the 4 in the final race at Mountaineer. So, 5 horses, 13-1 now. Burn Cigar, and then TB12 is the favorite at 2-1.
Tom, who were you looking at for this one, race 8?
I like the 7, and I also like the 2. The 7's now down to 5-2. But yeah, I also, for a price play, I kind of like that 2 for race 8. And I'll put 3 on there for my exacta.
I like it. What about you, Dennis? What do you got?
I took chalk here. I keyed for an exacta, which, looking back, I don't know if I should have took that or not, but an exacta 8 with 1, 3, 5, 6, and 7.
You put the 8 on top?
Yeah, he's got to win or I don't get nothing.
All or nothing, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, what can you do with a 6-5 shot and you run second, you know?
Well, you can back wheel. I mean, I can't tell you how often I've actually, if I've been in a spot where I'm kind of like lukewarm, but I realize the horse is the one to beat, and you're 6-5. The back wheel has turned out to be a nice proposition in the past for me, anyway.
Oh, maybe you need to put him second with a few horses then.
How about credit to Dennis Trusty? I just noticed this. You're wearing your TVG hat when Sarge is on. I love that.
Yeah, that's nice. I like it. Nice touch, man.
I love that. You got some brown stuff on your nose, Dennis.
Than I do, though. I can tell you that.
Well, Sarge, appreciate. When we set this up, originally the Cowboys were not on Tuesday Night Football.
Yeah.
So really appreciate you coming out with your squad. It's literally an honor. You are the most positive person on Twitter. You are a wealth of knowledge. We had a couple of people say this guy is like a Jedi. He's very knowledgeable. So it's, really, really thank you very much for hopping on.
That's very kind of you. I appreciate it. And, I know you guys are, you're slugging it out, trying to earn a nickel and maybe give out a few winners to the people that are tuned in, for the show. It's the one thing about it, it just goes to show you it's a Tuesday night and there's opportunity, right? I mean, I know that you're staring down the barrel of this Mountaineer race and you're saying to yourself, how am I going to make money when a horse is 6-5 on the board? Well, there's plenty of opportunity to make money. And the fact that, say, for example, you can play a late double, you can play exactas, you can get rid of the 6-5 favorite. Mm-hmm. I don't think in this case 6-5 favorite is a layup, obviously based on my pick 4 ticket. But I'm hoping going forward that we can do this again and maybe catch some daytime action, maybe at a Gulfstream Park or something of that nature.
Oh yeah,
hallelujah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be
Oh,
really fun.
Yeah.
We got winter meet at Aqueduct starting up. Laurel runs all year. Yeah, Gulfstream's popping off.
Fairground.
Good stuff. Fairgrounds, of course. Yeah.
Places.
My guy Angel Suarez is lighting it up from Delaware Park. He's doing a hell of a job down at Fairgrounds.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good track. If you're going to get hot, Fairgrounds is one of those tracks that it's going to pay it forward for sure.
Yeah. He got a hat trick the other day, and I think the next day he might have won 2. So yeah, he was a little uncertain. Usually winters at Laurel, but he was going down to Fairgrounds this winter.
Nice.
See,
looks like you're loading up in the gate here at race 8. Looks like they're loading up the last horse. And they are all in the gate, and they are off. The 6 stumbled out of the gate, got off to a slow start. But the 3, the 5, and the 8 did not. The 8 is out front. And then you have the 5 and the 3 horse. Followed by that, you have the 1, the 7, the 2, and the 6. 7 is starting to make a move on the outside. Has gone from 7th to 3rd. You got 8, 5, 7, 3. 8 is still out front at even money, stolen identity. And then you have 3 wide behind him, the 3, the 5, and the 7. They're coming around the final turn. That 8 is still out front, stolen identity at even money. Here comes the 3 down. Then you have the 7 on the outside, but I don't know if the 3 is going to catch the 8.
Come on, 7.
Get up there. Get up there, 3. Get up there, 3. Get up there, 3. 3, 7.
3, 8, 7.
That will help a
Still
lot.
alive.
That'll help a lot. 8
Yeah.
to 1 morning line, 8 to 1 in the end there. That's good.
8 to 1 gets it done and moves on to the final leg of his final 4.
That was great.
Pick
I didn't know the 3.
Yeah, I thought the 8 was going to run away with it, but 3 came.
That's great. Yeah, Sleeping Giant
Yeah, we'll take it.
at 8 to 1.
I think
Big.
8 might have held on for second.
yeah, I think they got second.
8 did as
He
well.
did, yeah.
Man, cool. Well, let's hope for that 8 for Sarge for next race.
Yes.
I
8,
missed
7,
that.
6.
I missed that. See, that horse, as far as speed figures go, on Brisnet, it takes a 79 to win that race, and that horse has been floating around that area the past 3 races. That was a good one, though, Sarge.
Yeah, that's gonna help. And I mean, obviously, we're able to get over and beat the Ed Clouston chalk in the finale. You know, his pick 4 might just be okay. So
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. I'm going to sign off, and I want to tell you I really appreciate you having me on the show tonight.
Yes, I mean, thanks again.
Great having you, Sarge.
An
Yeah,
honor.
we're glad to have you. Wow, thank you.
Yeah,
Well-
you're welcome at any time.
All right, well, let's do it again. Let's do it again, and I'll be looking at that merchandise. Gentlemen,
Yeah.
at ease. Enjoy the rest of your night. God bless.
Sarge,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much.
Hoorah. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Shout out to the Sarge, Mr. Nick Hines. Make sure you
Damn.
guys follow him on Twitter as well.
Wow. What a wealth
That
of
was
knowledge.
awesome.
What a freaking wealth of knowledge that guy is.
And then he's moving on to the final of his pick 4.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. I wrote all of his stuff down and I didn't tell him. Why I didn't,
Yeah.
I'll never know.
Oh, see, I was smart. I tailed him.
You want to know how great Razor is? Just ask him.
Yeah, there you go.
uh,
We'll do that another show, guys.
We'll just have a Razor show. Razor can tell you how great he is.
How good Razor is with the Razor Sharp Picks.
Yeah. How great is Razor? Okay, just interview himself.
Man, shout out
Did
to
you
the
get my
Sharp.
emails? I asked Ken Mace if he wanted to be on the show. Did you get my emails?
Oh yeah, I did
Yeah,
get
I
the email.
saw that.
Yeah, he
He's
said he
retired. He said, right?
retired. What can I say?
He's,
I
that's
tried to
what he
figure
said.
out how to get hold of Mark Patterson, but so far I haven't been able to.
Yeah, because we could have Mark Patterson on Thursday, but like he's doing his thing tonight on the broadcast.
Yeah.
Well, if I ever get his email address, I'll give it to you, Razor. I won't email him because it's your show, but I can't get the address so far. I called and so far I have nothing. So
You're talking about the announcer for Mountaineer?
Oh, he's not the announcer. He's the Peter Barry's the announcer, but Mark Patterson does like the handicapping between the races.
Oh, Mark Patterson. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the.
I think he does the morning line odds too.
He might, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Steve, he did. He singled the 8. I wanted to ask him if he was going to try and like bet any other horses to profit, but is that something you would do, Gas? How do you go about that if you're like pick 4 and you single a horse, try to bet the other horses at all?
There's no set thing I do. If there's a big standout, if there's a big standout in a pick 4, most times I won't even get involved because I tend to play like pick 4s when it's like big pools on big days. So, and usually in those big sequences, it's usually 10, 11 horses in there. So I don't really try to single. Usually not really the way I would play it would be to single, I should say. So, because I try not to have a favorite in my sequence because if you have a favorite in the sequence, it really drags it down, the payouts. Even if you have a second or third choice, it's not really a bomb, maybe a 3 or 4 to 1 shot. You get rewarded quite a bit on a pick 4, as long as you just don't have that favorite in there.
Yeah, so right now the 8 is at 4 to 1. So it'll pay $278.30 for every 50 cents.
Yeah, well, see, I didn't think that the 8 was going to be the big favorite. The 4 is going to be the big favorite. I'm pretty sure of that.
Yeah, man.
He looks good. I like the 2 horse here, Mr. Europa. I like him as a long shot.
Yeah. Gosh. I think I did a horrible bet here at Mountaineer. I think I did a horrible bet.
Razor, did you single the 8, or did you put anybody with it?
No, I just singled the 8.
Well, good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
thanks.
see, how much is that paying?
I've got to start playing more pick 3s and pick 4s. I used to, and I stopped. I don't know, but I know Creed does that a lot. I don't do it that much anymore, but that's real. That's where the money is, man.
Mm-hmm.
It can be, especially on the big tracks, on the big days. There's big pools in there.
Oh yeah,
It's hard to play like pick 4 at a small track like tonight. There's just not a lot in the pool, So
Right.
you don't get rewarded when you get that long shot in there.
And Gas, who did you like at this race 9?
I have the 2 and the 4 here at Mountaineer.
What about the 5? You didn't like the 5 at all?
5.
5.
Go 5. Yeah, you know what? I kind of do. I can see
I
that.
like the 5 raise.
Yeah.
Who do you have, Ed?
You know, his main problem, he doesn't have any speed. So he's going to have to come from way back.
It's got a good, really good jock. Best jock there, I think.
Yeah, and the top trainer. Or no, not the top trainer, top pedigree.
Yeah, I think the only knock is the trainer.
Not the well. The main knock is the lack of early speed, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, 5 has got to switch to a better jockey. Got a nice drop in class. For that price raiser, that's not bad to single it out.
Yeah, the 5, it's pretty good at this distance. It's raced 13 times at 5 furlongs in the dirt. It's been in the money 9 times. I also
Man.
like 9 horse.
I kind of like that 9, Cowboy. Yeah, and it's set at 3-1 now, which I'll take. There's a couple minutes ago it was 5-2.
Yeah.
Man, Sarge is so smart. He rattles off stuff. You know, he probably does that for every damn track.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He really doesn't like that Kevin Patterson, or I guess he just wants to be Kevin Patterson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's where if you beat him, you're going to get paid, but if you bet him, it's not going to pay much.
It's like beating my guy Ness at Parks.
Yeah, exactly.
And you saw that razor right yesterday. Fucking, it was like 7-1, and Jamie Nesworth won the first race at Parks. I didn't play him.
Yeah. I called Jamie this and told him.
Yeah, Razor's like, I'm telling Jamie, you didn't bet on him. But what was that crazy? That was that stat. He won for 28 days in a row. Ness had a horse in first or second at Parks. That's pretty crazy. And he's going to get on here one of these days. I've been going back and forth with him.
He used to kill it down at Tampa.
Oh yeah,
Like maybe 10 years ago. Like he'd get 2 or 3 winners a day. Like seemed like, and they all be like 1-5 or 2-5.
yeah.
He'd just drop. He'd just take horses from the north and bring them down there and drop them in, and they just crush.
Yeah, his farm isn't that far away from us, Razor.
Oh, wow.
It's in Middletown.
And shout out to everyone in the chat, as always, for joining us, sticking around, hanging out with Sarge. Make sure you guys press that like button and also subscribe. We're at 2.82 subscribers here on Pub Sports Radio. We're making a push for 3K. So if you could press that like, subscribe, and also share that YouTube page. Get a bunch of people in here for this last race. We will be back Thursday at 7 with a lot more races.
Yeah, I mean, like the Tuesday night shows were tough because we just had the one track, and so I guess the flip side is, from a handicapping standpoint, it's not a lot of racing, but we get a chance to kind of talk about other, angles and things, and maybe some other ideas in racing going forward, for the week. Did you guys happen to see the Cigar Mile last week?
Wow.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, that was a great race, and Dennis Garcia called that cold.
Yeah, and I liked it too, and I saw him, and I ended up doubling down on that. It was 8-1 shot.
Yeah, with Kenrick. Yeah, I originally did not have him. I think I had Mr. Buff. But yeah, I saw, and I looked at it, and I threw $5 down on it just after Dennis's post. But that was a great race. And how about Kenrick? Man, he's so cool. After he won that race,
Yeah,
pure emotion.
yeah. I retweeted that. His little I was with Maggie after the race. Maggie Wolfendale was interviewing him.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, he's one of the good guys.
All right, so we got about 7 minutes till this last race. Ed, who were you looking at again? You said the 5, and who else?
I had the 5.825, and I'm probably gonna cross out the 8 and go to 5.425. I had 4.825. I'm probably gonna go 4.25. Cross out the 8.
Spencer went 9.82, 9.821. TAS says you guys are the best handicapping team. We appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody in the chat. Fat Wally. So we're trying to set up a trip to Oaklawn, probably like the 20th, around that week of March. So hopefully they'll be open for fans. That's kind of the only really stickling point that I have for it at this point. It's just a matter of they're going to be open. So I'm going to fly back this time, though. I'm not driving again. I drove last May.
Yeah, big
It
shout out.
wasn't driving over it was so bad. It's driving back. It was tough.
Yeah, shout out to everyone in the chat. 40 plus people in here on a Tuesday night, especially when they got football going on. So I didn't expect the numbers to be as high with the NFL going on, but of course we got the regulars here. So I appreciate all you guys here, as always, supporting the squad. And hopefully, you guys won some Monday night. Hopefully, we can close out this big 4 that the Sarge gave us.
Yeah. What's the plan for the rest of the month there, show wise, Razor? Like, are we going to do them like on Tuesday night, like the holiday week, or like are we doing a Christmas show or Christmas Eve show?
Well, we'll definitely
No racing.
Can't spend it with our family.
I mean, there's Australian racing probably,
Well, somebody said Mountaineer soon.
Daughter wants to come on.
Aren't
She
they?
was on last Thursday a little bit.
Yeah. No, we'll still be doing the Tuesday show, the 22nd. We definitely won't be doing a Christmas Eve show. Maybe we can pick up another night that week or during the day or something.
Boxing Day, I think, has got a lot of races.
Yes.
The 26th. So maybe that's something to just kick around, Razor.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you got stuff going on, I'd be more than happy to pick up the reins, so to speak.
I think Jimmy's down for that too, for the day after Christmas, opening day at Santa Anita and whatnot. It's a Saturday this year.
Yeah,
Isn't Nashville going to be running in that
Yes.
race?
Yep.
Yeah.
Against somebody really good. Yeah, Nashville's. There's going to be a showdown really with the 2 top 3-year-olds or 2-year-olds. I forget which they are.
3, I think. I think they're 3. It seems like
I'd be in the Malibu.
Yeah.
I think Happy Saber's running again before the end of the year. I don't know if it's then or not, or might be. I don't know.
Well, if he's running against Nashville in the sprint, that's not going to turn out very well for him.
You're right.
So I hope they keep him in New York, though, as far as going along with the progression.
Yeah, I got what you were saying, Gas, about the horses when we were talking to Sarge about them retiring early. So it's an interesting topic.
I just think anything that I think the number one focus has to be getting new fans into racing.
Yeah,
I think
yep.
Everything else has to be secondary, and I think and I was brainstorming about it and asking a lot of people, in race books and things over the years, and the medication and rules should be uniform. That's one thing, but then keeping our stars around has to be up there too, because if we don't get new fans, none of this is going to work. None of the breeding is going to be worth shit.
Nope.
It's going to die. It's dying, but to bring it somewhat back, or at least on the tide a little bit. I think we had, got to get new fans. Anything we can do to do that is positive. It has to be the priority over everything else. In my opinion.
And then we saw earlier today, Bodie Express. No, I mean, he's retiring. It's terrible. At 3, 4, I guess he's 4 now because he ran the Derby last year.
Yeah.
But that sucks. Just when he won that Grade 1, which I don't necessarily think he was injured. I think they're just putting him out to retire.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say, well, he had a career-ending injury, but
I don't think so.
But two, I think as well, to get more fans in, if you look at casinos and stuff, in that their reward system is so much better than.
Oh my God, yeah.
So I think that would help as well if everybody got on the same page as rewarding people that actually bet at the track.
Well, last year was the last year that I actually bet at the window at Delaware Park, and I don't know how much I put in. I put my card, whatever. I got like a cheeseburger. Come on, like I got like one lunch after betting there 2 days a week. Like come on. But I mean now again, I'm just betting on my phone, so I don't barely even go up to the tellers anymore. Yeah,
and heck, I think it was like one time I spent $3 or $4 grand, and I checked the rewards for a certain period of time, and the rewards after that was $8. $8 after wagering about $3 grand. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, they should be putting you up. They should be putting you up in a room.
Yeah,
or
Delaware is just sit at the blackjack table.
Right.
I mean, I would just sit at the blackjack table and collect. I used to eat up there all the time for free.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was over there playing craps the other night. Actually, did better than I've been doing at horses lately. So that's good.
We're in the gate. We're loading in the gate.
All right, guys, this is going to be the last race here, Mountaineer Race 9, and this is going to be the last race for the Tuesday show. We will be back Thursday at 7. So make sure you guys subscribe, turn on your notifications. We will be live right here on Pub Sports Radio Thursday night at 7 o'clock with a lot more racetracks. So hopefully we can win a lot more money. And hopefully we can end the night with another winner. They are off race 9 here at Mountaineer to end the night. The 2 and the 4 are out front. You got 2, 4, 9, 1. Here comes the 8 on the outside. The 8 has moved into 4th place. So you have 4, 2, 9, and then you have the 8 horse. The 4 is still out front, but here comes that 9 on the outside, Cowboy Rusty, fighting out front with the other favorite, Mounted Cop.
Get up there, 8.
Here they come around the final turn. The 4 and the 9 are out front.
Here comes your 8.
8 is coming on the outside, but so is that 5 horse. Come on, 5-8.
Yeah.
Get up, 8.
5-4, I think, though.
5, 4, 8.
4, 8.
But I
It looks like 4 at second.
Yeah.
I got the trifecta.
Good.
I got the exact.
4, 8. That's going to pay nice.
Nice way to end.
Yeah. That's going to pay huge.
Yeah, I put a win bet on that 5 Razor. Thanks for pointing that out.
I hooked into that 4 in exacta.
Nice.
I would have had to try if I would have bet it. I just didn't play try. I just played exacta. They had win money on the 4.
Damn. Well, we lost on the pick 4, but
I mean, like I said, that 5 horse has ran the 5 furlongs 13 times and has been in the money 9 of them.
Yep.
I don't know how you.
Yeah.
15 to 1. Take that.
No, you got the price you needed for that type of running style because, like that's you're going against the grain, right? With the no speed, and he had no speed. He was way back there, man. But he came on.
Mm-hmm.
He had late kick. I give him that.
Sarah from the Triple Clowns has been in here for a while. It's awesome. I know Sarge is a regular in her show. Thanks, Sarah. Cool.
Thanks for
Did
stopping.
you ever hear that Dave Schwartz or something like that from Pace Advantage?
What was that?
The what?
Sid?
Oh, cool.
Sorry.
It's I think his name's Dave Schwartz. I think he runs Pace Advantage. They
Oh, I
have,
never.
they have one hell of a following. I mean, he sells a program, I believe. But Pace Advantage, you ever look that up? Boy, they got a shitload of cappers on there.
Oh.
And he's on my Facebook. He's always on there bullshitting about horse racing. Maybe if you,
Trifecta paid $800.
Did you have the trifecta, Razor?
Yeah, I hit the try 548.
Nice work.
Yeah, good job, Razor.
Yeah, I sprinkled a little on the 5 too. 33.20 to win, 7 to place, 460 to show.
Devil Dog got the super.
Man, I'm about to just start letting you guys do the show. I'll just show up for the very last race and call it a night. I think this is 3 or 4 shows.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But who would be able to hit the cash it hat? Come on now.
True that.
Nobody got the whole pick 5. Oh, yeah, nobody got the whole pick 5. Believe that?
Oh wow.
I'm just not allowed in the pool, man.
Yeah. Also, make sure you guys check out my new shirt. Cash it at pubsportsradio.com. Check them out. They got a bunch of new shirts, hats, everything up there. So make sure you guys check it out. pubsportsradio.com. Also, make sure you check them out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And like I said, we'll be back here Thursday night. So before we head out, Tom, what do you got for him?
Hey, today was a good day. We learned a lot of information. We got a couple new faces, which is always good. The more the merrier. Razor once again hit a trifecta the last race. Great guests, good times, guys. Appreciate everybody coming in, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Yes, thank you. And Dennis, Mr. Tuesday guy now. How you what do you got for the chat?
Again, thankful to be here. And that interview was so informative across all around, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad to be a part of any of it, as small or as big as it is, or anything like that, you know. I mean, it's just so fun to be able to hang out here on a Tuesday night with people, you know, and just bet horses.
Yeah, especially with everything going on nowadays. So
Yeah,
shout out to everyone for joining us.
that's for sure.
Smooth Ed, what do you got for him?
well, I'm happy to be here on there all the time too, and I mean, and I would, it'd be nice if you have anybody you could suggest that we could bring on. Maybe you know somebody we don't. If you could suggest them, to let us know who you might be able to bring on here to make the show. You know, it'd be nice if you do that because it's your show too. That's all I have.
Yeah, so everyone in the chat, if you guys think of anyone that you guys want to see, put them up in the chat. We'll see if we can get a hold of them. And we'll do the best what we can. Gas, what about you? What do you got for him?
Appreciate everybody coming out. I thought it was a good show. We got sidetracked a lot with Nick, which is good, really, because there wasn't a lot of racing tonight, to be honest. But yeah, it was a very good show. I did a lot of listening tonight with Sarge, and you know, and I thought there was a lot of good questions, you know, from the chat too. And you know, I learned a few things tonight, so you know, be ready for next Thursday.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's fun. It was fun.
And
Yeah.
again, shout out to Mr. Nick Hines, the Sarge, great guy. Learned so much from him. So a shout out to him as always. You can find him on Twitter as well, and I'm sure we're gonna have him on again. So shout out to him, and like I said, shout out to everyone in the chat. Kevin was here, Steve R, Deacon Mike, Chris Drobny, Saddles and Sulkies. The whole squad was here. Alex Condiff, appreciate you stopping in. Spencer Penny G was in here hitting bombs. Mark Skillman was in the house. Appreciate you stopping in, Mark, as always. And then we had the usuals. Eddie, Smooth Ed, Gaber Kiss, never heard of him, so that's a new guy. So appreciate you stopping in and showing the love to the team. Triple Clown, shout out to Triple Clowns. Of course, you know you got to have the belt, so I got the belt up on the bar from Triple Clowns. Mike Wallen, Michael Pizzanza in the house as
Mikey P.
Appreciate you stopping in. Kevin Limebeer was in the house. I mean, as always, TAS was in the house. Trey Ford was in the house. Big Show Picks was in the house. I mean, I could just keep going on. USMDC, USMC was in the house. Appreciate you. Bruce T was in the house. I mean, the whole squad was here as always. And then, of course, DKNEZ was in the house. So appreciate all the support as always. We'll be right back here on Pub Sports Radio on Thursday at 7 o'clock. For Dennis, for Smooth Ed, for Gas Station, for Tom and Tom,